This episode of Limit Break Radio is made possible by our generous Patreon donors, including Crimson Light Farron of Hyperion, Hirsch Fersh of Fairy, and Kabul Fulmin of Lamia. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio.
Think back to earlier, happier days. The days when you would waste the afternoon away playing Alagon games in your Garlean Station 1. Those lazy days can never come back again. Or can they? Introducing the Garlean Mini Station 1 Classic. Now you can rekindle the flames of your wasted youth by purchasing our fully functional miniature Garlean Station 1 replica. Every system comes with one controller, so you can relive the childhood conundrum of loser passes the controller. Additional controllers not sold separately. Hope you have a friend who snags one of the limited edition Garlean Mini Station 1 Classics. Enjoy your favorite 8-bit games like Super Asian Brothers 3, Dr. Asina, Cerulean Fight, Magitech Man 2, The Legend of Gaius, and Grinwat's Adventure, and 15 other beloved classics. The Garlean Mini Station 1 Classic is competitively priced at a mere 2,095 gil, so make sure you come early to launch day 1 to snag one of the 10 units being produced. The Garlean Mini Station 1 Classic. Now you're playing with power. Alagon power.
Live from Eorzea.
Limit Break. With your hosts, Nero.
Now behold the horror you have wrought.
Kahlo.
I said don't take your clothes off.
Juxtaposition.
I don't get it.
Scala.
Holy shit, totally forgot about him.
And Mika.
Oh my god.
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio, episode 131. You can check out a full archive of our show over at LimitBreakRadio.com. You can find all 130 previous shows that have come before this. We're excited to have you along. We are, of course, live from Eorzea. Let's kick it on over to our Eorzean studios. You can join us on the Sargentana server in the Goblet, 5th Ward, plot number 30, and we hope that you do. My name's Nero. Joining me is the Limit Break Radio crew, a distracted juxtaposition.
I'm making fun of Kooky because she's not on hold in Discord.
Oh.
I never get to call her out like that, and I wasn't even going to call her out in the thing, but you can blame Nero for that, Kooky.
We've also got Kahlo. What's up, man?
What's up? How's it going?
And Nika. Hi,
Hello.
Nika.
Hi.
Hi. We've got an exciting show for you today. Tons to talk about. Oh, my God. An overwhelming amount of things to talk about. Reddit.
Really? We have stuff to talk about?
Reddit continues their obsession with Limit Break Radio. We'll have that to we'll have that to talk about. But we've also got preliminary 4.1 patch notes. We'll go through disappointment by disappointment.
What do you mean? It's a whole bunch of shit. It takes up like a million pages.
They're
worth of
honestly
shit.
going through it. There was so much stuff. How can there be so much stuff yet there's nothing there?
There's not so much stuff. They
I know.
just
I mean, to be fair,
stretch all the words.
stuff, most of it's been pushed to like 4.11, 4.1.
It's not even that. There's just
4.
I mean, well, that is you know what, that is a large part of it. But we've also got some then this was the hot item this week in the FF14 community. Statements from Yoshi P about whether or not free to play could be in the future for FF14.
Fake
news.
There was a piece of sky that just fell right there.
Fake news. Didn't happen.
Fake news.
Didn't happen. Yep. It's fake news. That's what some people are saying. It's fake news.
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did see that. A couple
Fake news.
A couple of those FF14 Facebook groups. Whenever someone would post the article sourced at Gamer Escape, good associates of ours, good friends of ours, that they would go, "Oh, quit posting this fake news. It's fake news."
Like, don't they realize that Yoshi actually said those things?
No,
no.
it's fake.
Just because someone says it doesn't mean it's true,
Fake.
okay?
Kahlo, they're on denial.
Oh.
That's the problem. They're on denial.
Oh, poor guys. I hate it when I'm on denial.
I know.
Excuse me, Daddy?
Yes.
Can you unmute my drops?
I guess.
You
Thank
really
you.
answered to Daddy. Why?
I mean, anymore, I just look. Just like I don't even notice it. Don't even notice it anymore.
It's the
Nutter's
same,
gonna nut.
It's the same way that you feed his trolling, Nika.
What? I don't do that.
Okay.
Who's the
All
fake
right.
news now?
Hold on, Juxta. It's now your mission to see how many times you can get Nika to feed you
God
this
damn
show.
it. Fuck no.
Now you're gonna put pressure on me.
Anyway,
Can't handle that.
thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it. We're going to want to hear from you. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. It's difficult to know what to talk about first.
There's so much.
It's difficult to know where to take the show first.
And
Let's
yet-
just start at the beginning.
And yet on,
With
like,
us.
sort of Tuesday-ish, we're like, man, what are we going to talk about this weekend?
I know.
We have nothing to talk about.
I know. And then apparently
The sky falls.
Well, but we make people quit this game.
I mean,
Which
Force
means
them to.
which
I mean,
means
we forcibly clicked their hand.
that's
and made
right.
them quit.
Which means that Square Enix needs to step in and shut us down.
Yeah. Held a gun to their head and everything.
That's right.
well, that's just not gonna make us stop making people unsub. That's just gonna further our power
I mean,
because we're Jedis and we do evil things.
It's the other way
then
around.
that would make us Sith.
Yeah, the Sith are the evil ones.
No, the Jedi are the evil ones. They show no emotion. You can't hold any loves. Like, dude, Jedi are evil. They have a government.
I mean,
It doesn't say that they can't.
on the other side.
It doesn't say that they can't love. It says that they can't hold attachments.
And they can't place their emotions and attachments above their duty.
That's right.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me.
God.
Don't hurt me.
I'm waiting
more.
for you. There it is. God damn it. Anyway, now I'm sure that once Reddit hears this, they're going to be convinced that we're going to be an Old Republic podcast from now on, or I don't know what's going to happen next, but yeah, I hope we'll even have time to talk about that. I think that's the last thing we get to talk about today is the Reddit
If we
thing.
have time.
If we have time.
You know,
Reddit's become such old
Reddit always
hat.
finds
I
time
know.
for us,
I'm bored.
though.
Like honestly, I'm kind of bored with it.
like Reddit is like that chick that you like banged once, and it was all right.
And she keeps fucking texting you.
And she keeps coming back. So it's like, all right, here's a pity bang, I guess.
Normally, when Reddit stuff
Like,
comes
stop.
up, I'm kind of excited because it's like, oh, we need something to fill the show. When that link got sent to us, I actually said out loud to my computer, Reddit, we ain't got time for this shit.
Seriously, I think I'm kind of fucking over it by now.
And it's not even that interesting.
No,
Yeah, they're just our mid boss now. Who cares?
Get out of here.
boring. Anyway,
Failure, freaks.
lots to talk about. But we start off as always. Let's get straight into the news.
This is a Limit Breaking News Update.
Today on Stupid Square Enix Updates. Remember the changes to the UI they announced? Well, I guess it's so important in game changes, we needed a fucking novel printed out in the form of a preview. So go check that out, I guess. I made it like 20 seconds into it and didn't fucking care.
Thank you, asshole.
I'm trying to figure out why this matters.
It's going to be semi-useful because what is it? You can separate like the enemies, like HP, their debuffs, and their casting bar. So that's like useful for tanks who need to see when like a tank buster is
But
coming.
this is what we're
But it's
previewing.
Chapter 23 of shit that should have been in the game on day one.
Not Return to
but I don't
Evilise.
think it didn't need an entire like vlog preview.
Right, they didn't need
Especially
that
when it was
novel.
like full of so much sass. It's like, look at your UI, now look back at us. This is the UI you could be having. Now look at your
You know what? That was the only fucking good thing. All right, that was the only good thing about this update. So thank
I mean,
you.
it was cute, but it was cheesy. Like what? Why?
I thought that was coming from Nika. I was laughing because I was like,
She made a joke?
Nika actually came up with something clever and pretty quick-witted.
But no, I wish that was. But no,
you
that
could
was
have stolen
actually
that
in the
joke.
blog.
No one would have known. No one actually read that shit.
No,
I did.
They knew.
I would have called her out. It was from Zachnos. Zexos? What the fuck? Zhexos? Zexos? Like I'm gonna go Zexos up my wife later tonight?
Wow.
In news that is a bit less dumb.
All I can do is stare anymore.
Yeah, pretty much.
Blankly.
Yeah. So, in news that is a bit less dumb but still pretty stupid, veteran rewards are going through, let's call it a rework. And by rework, we mean they're giving them to everyone. If you've played for, I think it's about a year, you get everything up to the Squall outfit. So veteran rewards will henceforth be referred to as participation rewards.
So, do we need any more evidence that Square Enix has open contempt for their veterans?
You know what this feels like to me is that they're actually, because I think it was 360 days or so, I think they're actually having trouble getting people to sub for 360 days. And in order to keep them there for a year...
Oh, you think, Nika?
Because...
was that
such... Nika's on the case.
That is such stupendous insight.
Worth, Captain Jigglebox. What's the little guy?
Fuck?
Elementary. What?
No,
what are you referencing? What is happening? Juxta. Stop. No. Stop. Stop the update music. Stop the update music.
Bro.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You mean Sherlock Holmes' sidekick?
There we go. Shirley? No. What's his name?
Watson?
Why did you help him out? He just... Nika. Nika, why did you help him out? He just said Shirley. There's no way that he would have been able to... There's no way he would have been able to get that in 10. He would have made at least several other attempts.
I just didn't
You
think
stole that from us.
I'm sorry.
You stole that from us.
What he was trying to refer to because of how obvious that
I couldn't even think of Sherlock. I was thinking...
Yeah, see, I thought you were making a Phoenix Wright reference.
Oh, yeah.
You said Shirley. Shirley.
That's close to Sherlock.
You are so terrible. You are so bad.
When you imagine Shirley in your mind, did you imagine someone dressed as Sherlock Holmes, but maybe just like a freckled redhead woman who has very fluffy hair or something?
And she's wearing like a blue, like light sky blue maid dress.
This means he didn't even have like the knowledge to remember that Watson is a guy.
You do realize that
in elementary, Watson's a girl.
But you just said you were envisioning a girl.
I just want to make sure.
I didn't say that.
I
said I was envisioning a sky blue dress.
Shirley could be a boy.
Holy fuck.
You're judging and assuming gender. Stop that.
Okay, the virtue signaling part of the shows today is over.
And bigoted hate speech isn't gonna fly here, bro.
Don't call me Shirley. God, what the fuck? Shirley. I just want to know what happened in your head when you said
Sherlock.
that.
Sherlock. That's where it was drawn from. He's like Sherlock's sidekick. Shirley.
All right.
Surely I know the answer to that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's continue on with the news.
In keeping with showing us previews of stuff we could use our imagination to envision, we also got a neat little look at the simplified job gauge for machinists. It's 3 little lights that light up and a fucking gauge.
Well, I mean, you can see I think in the patch notes you can see all the simplified ones. They're just literally like lists.
They're fucking bars.
Okay, yeah, but this is actually a really requested change because everyone being literally everybody hates the giant gauges and
they
stuff.
thought they were too gaudy.
I get that, and I'm right there with you. The Ninja one is fucking useless. What I'm saying is we didn't need a preview of what a simple gauge looks like.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. I'll give you that. Because that implies
Still waiting for our Eureka
simple
preview.
Gauge.
But it implies that this is a central feature of the patch.
It's trying to make us think that there's content.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just part of the Square Enix propaganda machine.
I mean,
this is just a QOL change that did not need a preview. and they're like, yeah,
Jesus
wait,
Christ.
see, we do stuff in this game.
At least Lords of Verminion was a fucking thing. It was a waste of time.
It was an event that you could actually
but
do.
this is fucking ridiculous. I'm not bemoaning the change. The change is fine, and of course the UI elements. They were huge and distracting, and I can understand why someone would want maybe a simplified version of that. That's not what anyone is.
What the issue is.
Yeah, right. Like the issue is why are you putting an entire update out about how you're changing the fucking gauges?
Well, they don't have anything else to write about.
No, but I mean, is this Final Fantasy 11 when they were PS2 limitations? Because that's this kind of those are the kinds of updates that we're getting. Those are the quality of updates that we're getting, and at least they had a fucking excuse that everyone could be like, yeah, all right, I see your point. 10 gigs on a PS2. That's probably not a whole lot to work with as a development. There were caveats to their excuses that made sense. We were like, oh, okay. I can't see that here.
Not to mention, with Square Enix recently, I always feel like they're trying to inflate what it is they're doing.
Oh, the 10 million player base?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But just this idea of how, oh yeah, here's a patch, and then you're getting another patch after that, and this one. And it's like, no. Patch 1.5, you don't get to call that another patch when you just dissect and delay things a little bit and be like, look, more content. We changed a ninja spell, so this is patch 1.57b.
Look how much content we're putting out.
So many patches.
No.
There's at least 10 of them. Good patch.
Lastly, for the news today, we get to talk about some Chinese exclusive items, which means that we can eventually expect to see them in the cash shop.
But only if we ask for them first. That's what, Yoshi says last time, so.
All right, so the gear itself is kind of cool, a little bit weeby.
Whoa.
A little bit weeby.
Whoa.
But
whoa, can you before you even get to the next thing, can you put up the gear on the stream?
That's exactly what I was working on.
Show the female one, though.
So we're going to see what Kahlo thinks is good glamour nowadays.
Not that one. That's terrible.
Bro.
Wait, it's got a head jewel. How is that weeby?
The head jewel you can barely see. Just overall. You know what it looks like?
Did you just say it's got a head jewel? How is that weeby and not how is that not weeby?
This looks like Kingdom Hearts came to Stormblood.
This is reskin Titus, isn't it? This is just the Titus.
This looks like nothing
gear.
we've seen yet before.
This looks like the Titus gear that has just been reskinned.
I could see,
especially the shorts.
I could see where you got that from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess the guy one sort of looks like that.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
It's got a fucking awful head or headband.
You know what? That reminds me of all the hats that the priest people in FF10 wore.
The hairbraid is actually a gunner unit FF10-2 thing. That's exactly like her fucking hairbraid. Just with a jewel at the end instead of a braid.
Is no one gonna mention the fucking hoodie? Is no one going to mention the goddamn hoodie?
Why don't we have a hoodie in this game already? I'm actually surprised it took them this long to give us a hoodie.
Is that
that's a hoodie?
You'll never be able to hood that hoodie because that's part of the body piece.
Yep.
It's not a visor.
Also, why does he have a belly vest jacket? Why does it stop right at his
Because that's a Square Enix fucking.
If he zipped it up with it would. That's a fucking midriff jacket.
Okay,
what
but
the fuck is that?
Squall had one of those. Zidane had one of those.
That's why I said
it's a Square Enix thing. I don't know
that's
why.
Staple. Square
That's why
Enix.
I said it. This looks like a reskinned Titus.
At least he has a shirt underneath though, so it's not some weird belly shirt thing that a lot of guys get in Final Fantasy.
That the thief artifact armor in FF11 was.
Yeah, that's just a thing with Final Fantasy.
Show off our Von abs.
So, all right, here's the girl.
Why do they even make Chinese exclusive? Really cute. Items in the first place.
You know that eventually they're gonna make their way here.
I think it's really cute.
That's always been that way. I guess so.
Pieces of it. I think overall it's kind of weird because the top looks so heavy and puffy.
The sleeves are really dumb. I think The butt capes are really unnecessary.
I'm looking at the girl one though. What is it on her leg? Like they're not full leggings, right? They're shorts, and then there's something on her leg. Like
I do see that.
Or
I do see
like
that.
Yeah, or something reminds me of the.
It's like a boot shield.
It's a boot shield.
That.
No. You're looking below that. Above that, I don't think that's a boot shield. I think you're right, Nika. That looks more like along the lines of some sort of leggings.
Yeah,
and I like that. That's
the
I think
shields are the bottom part.
That I think is maybe the only thing that I like about that.
It's unique, at least.
I really hate how there are belts on the boots, and then above the belt line they kind of flare out like that and stand up like no boots have ever done in the history of ever.
You know what she did? No, this is what she did. She cut the legs off a pair of boot-cut jeans and then pulled them up backwards. That's what she did.
Yeah, and the only way they stay up is with that belt, which is why the belt is there.
That is who.
Because you can see the boot cut thing, like the little white fluffy like part that's hanging, is not actually connected to the boot. It looks like it's inside of
It's fucking awful.
Is her like little heel thing? Is that a glowy thing on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy has that too.
Yeah.
That looks like the wings that you might see on like Hermes sandals.
Yeah,
like the actual mythological being. Yeah.
The guy's one's reddish or is yellowish orange.
So we have like little child light up shoes that like light up when you walk.
Yep.
Yeah, so
they're
cute.
Heelys.
We got LA gears.
Oh God.
I like them.
Stop it.
And of course,
I like this more when it's on the floor of my bedroom.
And here we go.
Oh,
the fucking mount.
It's so cool.
No, it is not. No,
How
it is not
cool. Please,
because it's a fucking hoverboard in FF14.
That is so awesome.
That is the most douchey thing I've ever seen ever.
Reminds me more of a Segway.
It does.
Segways have like long handle things that you hold on to.
That's the
not
difference.
A Segway.
That's the difference. That's why I said hoverboard.
Actually, no, Segways do not have a thing you hold on to. FYI, it has
yeah,
like a
they
little.
do. They're all over fucking DC.
Oh
They
my
totally
God,
do.
Nika!
Stop.
My manager has one, and it does not have a fucking handle
Then
on
that's
it.
a hoverboard.
That's a hoverboard. The Segway actually does have.
It like has a thing that goes up to like your crotch for like balance purposes.
No,
that's a hoverboard.
Segways, it's a thing, capital Segway. Like, believe me, I'm in DC all the time. I was there yesterday. There was a freaking train of Segways.
Some of them have cup holders.
Yeah,
and it's you easily look as much. You look like as much of a knob on this fucking mount.
Well, look, Segway or hoverboard. If you have one, you're a douche.
No, but how is this any less cool than the chick from Big Hero 6 that has wheel shoes and she just floated and rolled around?
Because
that's not you.
Because you look more like fucking Paul Blart.
But these ones are on fire. It's
Nika
cooler.
Blart, Mole Tank.
There we go.
No.
Yes, Nika.
But you can never wear these around a mall because you burn people down, so it wouldn't work. Sorry.
You know, have you seen Paul Blart Mall Cop? You would know that that's actually pretty true.
I've seen the commercials and some previews for it, but I haven't actually seen it.
Well, things should burn down.
Oh my God.
No, I don't know. I think these look cool. I like that it's on fire, and I like that you just look like a total fucking. I like that you
don't
look
say.
like a
You were gonna
douchebag.
try to say badass.
You don't.
You do not say
But I feel like
badass.
you have this like hoity-toity look, kind of the same way you do when you're riding the behemoth mount, and you're just like leaning back with your leg curled up, like, "Ha! I got this big giant behemoth to a baby. Fuck all of you." This
Okay.
is like,
all right. If you needed, if you needed more evidence that this is more like Paul Blart than it is.
Paul Blart Mall Cop. Paul Blart Mall Cop. Paul Blart Mall Cop. Segway.
That was a good segue.
If you need any more proof that this is more Paul Blart Mall Cop than it is Big Hero 6, is that person skating at all? No. All they're doing is leaning forward like you would as a fat fucking moron on a Segway.
That's true. It would be cooler if she was skating, like each foot was individual.
Yeah, that's not happening.
That would require animation.
You know why? You know what it is? It's because this is the lamest thing on the fucking planet.
I love flaming lamers.
See, now
wondering
it's
when that drop
me.
was coming.
It's bothering me now that they're just leaning. Like, if they could actually animate the feet separately, that would be way cooler.
Like especially when it shows there's a female character model who's like damn near falling over. She's leaning forward so far.
Dude, they're doing the goddamn Michael Jackson lean. What the fuck? Why is this cool?
It's not. It's terrible. This is. Look at him go. Oh my God. Stop it.
Worse than free to play.
Oh. Don't worry, that's never gonna happen. And that about wraps it up for the FF14 news today.
All right, well, thank you.
Yay for that.
Don't forget there's a patch on Tuesday, guys. Everyone's going to take off work and log in.
You know why we won't get skating for a mount? Cause we'd be Lucio FFXIV edition.
Oh, amp it up.
Ooh.
Ooh, get hype!
Stop it.
Yeah. There you go.
Anyway, all right. So we got the patch 4.1 preliminary notes.
Gay!
I mean,
wow.
Kind of.
You know, within 48 seconds, he sucked all the fun out of the...
Is anyone else supremely disappointed by what we're actually getting?
A whole lot of nothing?
We're getting a dungeon.
A dungeon.
We're getting a raid.
A raid.
We're getting a fight.
See, here's the thing.
2 fights.
The new dungeon, the new raid, both of those will be old hat within a week, 2 weeks, because they never bother challenging their community on any of those things.
Actually, no. You know what?
Ozma was the only
point in the game, they are challenging our community because at this point, the fucking community is so goddamn awful.
The challenge is staying in the game.
The challenge is there for these really
staying subbed.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to be hopeful because the scenario and everything's actually written by the Evil East creators. So like, I want to feel like this is going to be decent. But again, how long is it going to keep our interest? That's the thing. It might be actually really cool the first couple times you run it. It might be like, yeah,
maybe
this is aesthetically really cool.
Yeah.
It always is cool the first couple times you run it.
But that's always the case. That's always the case.
Look at all the detail in the sky.
That sky.
Oh, that sky. Yay.
Daisy of my heart.
All right. Before we start breaking down these preliminary patch notes, let's go to our phone lines and talk to Tobirama Taka? Tobirama?
Toby. Let's talk to Toby.
Tobirama. Tobirama? We'll go with that. Tobirama, what's happening?
So,
what's
I
happening?
called in a week before last, and this week I wanted to call about how the show's changed over the years. Like how you guys used to be super hype about the game, not super hype, but you guys used to be excited about the game.
Sure.
And it's interesting to rewatch all your series because you can see how you slowly got degraded over time.
Okay, so where did you start to notice? Like, where did it start to become noticeable for you then?
It was a little bit in 2.5-ish, and from like 3.2, I think, upwards, or 3.1-ish upwards, is this huge decline. Like excitement for the game, like visible excitement.
I can see that. In fact, Juxta, you've gone back before and listened to the launch of Heaven's Ward episode where we were like super excited and super hyped about everything.
We were in the honeymoon phase.
That's right. And about the time that you're describing, Toby, that's about sort of the point where we kind of started to maybe not completely accept, but kind of start to realize that are they giving us the same stuff that we got in 2.0?
Because we were hoping that was going to be okay, now's their time to reinvent themselves.
Yep,
3.0. Go. So at 3.0, we're like, oh, this was cool. Everything was really cool. But then 3.1, we're like, but it's
because that's literally what every MMO does.
Because Yoshi said that there's going to be like, it was like going to be like playing a brand new game or something along that lines of a quote.
Recall that.
And 3.2, that should have been where we were getting information about Diadem, but hadn't actually seen Diadem yet, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there were all these unknown factors where...
And it was exciting when things were unknown because they're unknown. You can speculate. We don't have unknown anymore. We have known.
That's exactly the problem.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why there was less of a honeymoon phase, if any, with Stormblood, because we had that with Heaven's Ward just because there was that hope that it could change it up. And then once Stormblood launches as the exact same thing, there's no hope. How do we hope?
Paint by numbers RPG.
It really is, because I mean, like once you start repeating, your main content over and over and over again, you never vary it up. And what you do vary up isn't received very well. And listen, I can't help how Diadem was received. It wasn't just me that thought it was garbage.
In fact, Nero, you tried to defend it.
I tried to defend it for so fucking long because it was
I remember, because it was like during the bet time, and it was you and me streaming, and I was saying how garbage it was, and you're like, but
let's go do it. Yeah, let's at least go do it. And that's the thing. Dude, I defended Diadem far longer than I should have because I was like, well, at least this breaks...
Yeah, it was different.
It was one of the only different things.
New.
Now, Palace of the Dead, a little bit better. That was, step in the right direction.
A lot better.
And a lot better received by the community.
Speaking of that, though,
so let's not do anything with it.
Have we had any announcement of when the next Deep Dungeon is going to be?
Nope.
No. I feel like we've heard literally nothing, right?
Nope.
Yes.
Only new piece of content that went over well, and we've heard nothing about it.
Yeah, because we can all speculate it's going to be that really tall brick tower that you can actually like walk up to, and a guy says, "Sorry, you can't go in yet."
Fair enough.
That's probably going to be the Deep Dungeon, but I'm surprised that they haven't even given us like an estimated, like they haven't even mentioned it. It's like it fell off the face of the earth, and that's the one thing everyone's looking for.
Yeah,
the one thing that could save them.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But my point is that if your batting average on new content is 50%, like that really to me says that there's something wrong.
33%. Diadem was a miss. Diadem 2.0 was a miss.
Okay, fine, fair.
Deep Dungeon was a hit.
Fine.
What about Lords of Verminion?
Shut up.
God damn it.
Doesn't even count. But when you like, and that's not necessarily the fault of Square Enix. I'm not trying to necessarily fault anyone. But as a development company, how can you say, well, doing copy and paste style content that the majority of the community has openly vocalized that they're bored with? Like, I don't understand how you think that that's a good development strategy moving forward. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they've got to take more risks now than ever to be able to maintain the people that they've got. But if you look at some of these interviews and some of these statements, that seems to be the farthest thing from their mind. They're more interested and we've said this because we didn't even need a statement from Yoshi P. Just looking at the way that things are marketed and the way that content is added, we've been saying for a while that this game is made for new players. It's not made for people who have been paying the longest into the system. And I think that that's just another reason that we could see this go free to play.
I think a part of it about that is that they don't want veteran players. Like you 1.0 people, you guys are worth less than us 2.0 people because you pay less every month. They could give less shits about you than like the new players because we pay more.
Well, I'm pretty sure that
I haven't seen you guys talk about too much because like you guys get like a $3 discount every month.
It's a $2 discount. It's down to 12 from 14.
But here's the other thing, though, Toby.
Please, you guys.
Going forward, even discounting 1.0, 2.0 people could be considered veterans, right? In another expansion, 3.0 people will be considered veterans. So at a certain point, even your new players become veterans. And if you don't have content that supports older players, that means that your game has a life cycle for each new person that comes in. Sure, they'll buy it, they'll play for a year, then they stop playing. Shouldn't you effectively want to grow your player base and keep them there and make them bigger and stronger instead of falling off at the end?
I have seen a couple comments about Yoshi P apparently saying that they made this game to fit around its current player base, which I'm not sure if this is true or not, but if that's the plan, they technically are doing it decently because they haven't had a huge drop-off in a while. But like, if that's the plan is to keep getting new players, cycle them in and out, they might not want to get bigger for some weird reason.
First of all, I think and this is just an opinion, this is not fact, but I think that that's Yoshi P and Square Enix playing damage control because that is totally counter to what I see every time I log into the game. And this whole don't trust your lying eyes bullshit doesn't really fly with me. Like I'm at the point where I feel like I can't trust what Square Enix says because anytime they come out and say something about player populations, it's like, oh well, we're rivaling WoW at peak. We're around 10 million, and it's just like, dude, what? in what fucking world are you rivaling WoW at peak?
Yeah. Another thing is they aren't. This game couldn't handle 1 million players on one server. Like, the game's just not like how this game is structured. This can't. I don't think. Like, could you imagine 1 million people on your server? That would be hell.
No. I mean, we can't even handle 40 people in one zone without it. People DCing at Ixion. So
back
at 1 million a server. Like, wow.
At the 2 month point when Stormblood was about 2 months old, just before they took away the 3 instances per zone, whenever it would zone into someplace, finishing up the MSQ, because that was behind a lot of people, zoning into any zone, it would say, oh, which instance would you like? And there was never more than 30 people total between all 3 zones.
I mean,
yet 10 million people play this game?
Right.
No, I think what it is, I think between the number of people who have subscribed and the number of free players they have had, that their total may have hit 10 million. There's been 10 million copies sold plus free subscribers, but if you're going to try and compare it to WoW at its peak, that means that you're comparing your total number sold to concurrent players,
but
those are 2 completely separate statistics.
And the thing is that you only need to have context from WoW, not even at its peak. Even logging into WoW now, yesterday. I logged into WoW yesterday. We had a bit that we were going to try to do on FEC, but the Nazi stuff kind of overrode it. But but we had a bit that we were going to do on FEC, and I had put WoW on Juxta's computer, logged in, and went to one of these rape taverns that we talked about last week on Final Encountercast. There's more people at the rape taverns in WoW than there is, I think, maybe in the entirety of Sergeant Tannis. Okay, like, no, I'm not. That's my point, though, is that anyone who has objective experience in WoW, playing WoW, even you don't even need to spend that much time playing it. You objectively know that there's a difference. You feel that there's a difference in player populations between the 2 games, and you look at something like that and you go, well, fucking, they're clearly lying. That's clearly bullshit. That's clearly bullshit, and that does absolutely nothing for the relationship between the development, the development company and their player base. So,
but it does make their investors a lot happier because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
But here's something else. No one should trust Yoshida what he says. He's lied to us 1 million times. I remember an old Mr. Happy video article about saying if they got 2 more developers, they could go back to 3 dungeons per patch.
Oh my god, what horseshit.
At NA FanFest, they announced 2 more developers, and now we get 1 less dungeon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we get add-ons in 2.0. Oh, I mean 3.0. Oh, I mean 4.0. Like, when the fuck are we gonna get add-ons?
Oh my god, that's never gonna happen. But I mean, like, I remember, like Yoshi P was like, yeah, we're gonna consider jump potions, but maybe probably not till 5.0. 4.0, done.
Jump potions.
Done.
Yup.
Fucking yeah, they lie to us about this shit all the time, and so
Remember when Yoshi didn't lie? When he was like honest and like
or we thought at least we thought he was.
In 1.0. When he's like, oh yeah, this game is really bad and we failed you.
I do remember that.
And we're going to make it better.
Yoshi wasn't one of the ones that failed us. He came in and was like, I'm going to fix this.
He said we failed you.
But he was the one who made that statement. Yeah, they had already drummed Tanaka into the fucking window seat that he inhabited for the next 3 years. It was Yoshi P that had come out and apologized, and that was that was one of those things that really made an impression on me early on. And I was like, man, I feel like I can at least put trust again. I feel like I can at least put a little bit of trust in him.
Think about this though. How blind were we? We're like, yeah, I can trust a guy who's basically willing to admit that someone else fucked up. Hasn't admitted that he's fucked up yet, though, has he?
He said that the current state of Final Fantasy XIV was a blemish on the main stage.
The entire
franchise. But that's what I'm saying.
But he wasn't responsible for it.
Yeah, he wasn't responsible for the blemish. He basically came in, we herald him as a savior because he wasn't Tanaka and he's going to fix it. That was a win-win situation for him. I mean, look, at the most, if a Realm Reborn would have, like, bombed out, would we have been like, boo, Yoshi, you fucked it up? No, we'd have been like, you know what, bro, you tried. You tried, but it was a hot mess, and there's nothing you could have done about it. It's all right, man.
I mean, that is kind of true.
All he had to make was a game that didn't suck as much.
Yeah,
and he did.
Yeah.
He made a game that didn't suck as much. Because think about it. Whenever we talk about what's great about this game, we talk about it in comparison to 1.0.
Yeah. I mean, we do draw that parallel a lot. I think that, 1.0 probably, if 2.0 had failed, 1.0 would have definitely overshadowed it, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
It would have been known as a bigger failure. Because then I think you would have gotten Final Fantasy XIV overall as the failure, and they would have just talked about its launch. And there would have been a second part to it about the relaunch, and yeah,
would have been a footnote.
It wouldn't. But he did. I mean, all credit to the guy. He made it into a good MMO, an MMO that people wanted to play, and that people still want to play. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not looking for reasons or excuses not to fucking play. I'm asking, like, dude, if I logged in right now, what the fuck would I be doing? Grinding tomes, you should be raiding, and you're fuck off. Like doing Omega, the normal Omega for my my bullshit. But like,
if we were playing every day though, right? Like if I was playing as much as Nika does, I think at this point have all of my creation gear, right?
And which I have all my creation gear.
Okay, boom. All your creation gear and then some.
I would have a second job almost.
Yeah, I would have gotten all of the glamour that I needed from Omega. So being that I only play one job, I would effectively be done with the game.
Yeah, you would be. And I think that's what's been driving me nuts, and I've been repeating this on almost like every forum I've been posting on. But the fact is that like just because how many times I talk about variety, but when I look back at 11, and God knows I don't want this game to become 11. Everyone knows how much I shit on 11. I don't like 11. But what it did have right was that once you hit level cap, that's where the game began, not where it ended. And I feel like in this game, I tell people to enjoy the level grind, because when you hit level cap, all you're going to be doing is leveling something else. There's your content. And the thing is when
great point.
And when you hit level cap in 11, you think, I can go do, if I want to be really hardcore, I've got the Ground Kings. But that's really boring for a lot of people.
Yeah, a whole new game opens up.
Right, and then you're like, okay, but I still like NM, so I can do Sky, I can do C, I can do ZNMs. Oh, but that's a big lot of big scale content. But I still really like stuff that a whole Link Shell can do. So then I've got Dynamis or Limbus or something along Harryar.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, but I maybe a little bit more casual. Okay, you can get Salvage or Assault or Nizal Isle. Like there was literally an end game for everyone. Like doesn't matter what kind of player you were, a casual player or a hardcore player, there was an end game for everyone.
Yeah.
And in this game, there's one type of end game. And if you don't like it, it's basically fuck you. Like I don't hate the raids that we have. I think they're fun. But the thing is that's what I do Tuesday, Thursday. Where's my end game for Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Where is it? That's what I want to know.
That's, you know what? I don't think that I could put it any better than that. Like, that's exactly what the problem is. But Square Enix keeps going like, no, that's not a problem. Like, no, that's what we want. That's good. This is good. That meme with the dog sitting in the kitchen when it's on fire, and he's going,
this is fine.
This is fine. This is fine. Yeah.
I really, really wish that there was some way to get Nika to play WoW at endgame, because it would ruin any love she has left for FF14.
It might,
and I want to do that. I want to ruin FF14 for her, and I know by playing WoW it would
Strife
do that.
has been trying to get me to play WoW forever, and I can't.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though, is that, like the core concepts from other games, when you see them executed so well, you're like, God damn, like that was clever and fun.
What's the problem?
How do games struggle with this so often? And then you figure, like, you look at Square Enix repeating the same goddamn mistakes over and over and over again, and then they keep telling you counter information. Oh, we're giving it more money. Oh, we just hired on new devs. Oh, we're it's gonna be like playing a whole new game. Fucking horse shit. Like, you got to prove it now. Like, you haven't proved it in 2 fucking expansions. It's just been, like a Realm Reborn with a new coat of paint and a quarter of it lopped out. That's depressing.
They chopped off the hood and go, look, a convertible.
I thought you were making a circumcision joke. That was rude.
Wow, that's where your head
cut off the head and circumcision.
I know. I thought he was getting it wrong. I was about to criticize him.
I'm not Juxta.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's fair. Anyway, thanks for the call, Toby Rama. For the record, though, Do you think that the show was better when we were far more optimistic and positive about the upcoming content, or do you think that we're being overly cynical, or do you just think that we're
where we were?
Yeah,
it's fine how it is now. I think sometimes you get a bit over cynical. It's whatever the fuck.
That's fair. Fine. That's fair. All right. I mean, as long as we're being honest, we appreciate the feedback. It's one of those things. It can be difficult to come out here and do a 3-hour show about a game that we feel like is making a ton of wrong decisions.
That's disappointing us.
Yeah. General MMO podcast, do it. I have faith.
Oh my God!
We'd have to play another MMO.
That's the thing is that I feel like if we were going to do a general MMO podcast, we would have to task ourselves with spreading out to different MMOs and then bringing it back to talk about MMOs in a very general way. That's the only good way to do that.
Who would even really listen to that show then? Because then
it'd be all over the place.
Yeah. Who wants to listen to other MMO podcasts?
Well, that's
right?
and that's kind of the thing is that one of the things that helps people find Limit Break Radio is the fact that we are an FF14 podcast, and the way that podcasts are sought out are by category, by topic, and there are so many podcasts about one game, whether it's Pokemon or Destiny or
Rick and Morty,
whatever it is. They're so specific that I'm not sure how anyone would find it, but we appreciate the encouragement, Toby.
All right. See you guys.
Cool. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. If you want to call the show, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. It's okay. We can turn this into, just feedback about the show. If you want to tell us, if you want to tell us about how much you like the new show or how much you preferred the old
how much they missed the FF11. I mean,
that's the thing is that,
we used to get that.
For people who criticize us that, you guys just want it to be like 11, we get a lot of criticism that they want us to be like the 11 show.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about that? The irony.
But Toby, appreciate the call and the feedback. I don't know how a general MMO podcast would go.
Honestly,
over. I think that would be very difficult.
It wouldn't go very well because one of the things that I think binds all of us in here is that we all play and understand the same MMO, right?
Yeah.
Imagine when we have shows where even when we have a general grasp of what's going on in WoW, usually me and Juxta tend to dominate the conversations that are about WoW.
Right.
So if we all spread out amongst different MMOs, even though generally we all got the same concepts, the different games that we play, the other ones would be so far removed from that I think that the show would lose a certain connection or a certain amount of passion.
Yeah, no, I definitely
Unless
agree.
you had a show with people that just had so much time that you could talk about 10 different MMOs and all of you played all 10 of them.
There'd be no way though.
There's no way.
We had that time, but when you become a new father,
I knew you were going there.
Juxta, goddamn it. See, but here's the thing, though. I mean, if we were able to devote ourselves full time to doing, Limit Break Radio and Checkpoint and FEC and really just, doing the whole LBR network full time, that might be something that we would be able to do because we would just have huge tracts of time and looking for ways to fill them. But that's not life for any of us.
No.
You know what I mean?
Nobody can get started that way. You're not going to be able to start an MMO podcast.
And we're 10 years goddamn deep in this shit. You know what I mean? We were actually a little bit late to the table in terms of, looking for crowdfunding and trying to, get this project financed. We kind of drug our feet for a year and said, don't give us money. Let us get ourselves up and running. Mm-hmm. Let us, establish ourselves and prove ourselves. What other, I can't think of another podcast or radio show or media production house that's done that. It's episode 2, donate to our Patreon. You know what I mean? it gets so irritating, and we didn't know whether we'd be able to do this. Like, right? Like, it wasn't for sure that we were going to be able to pull this show off when we brought it back. Like, we had a ton of different intentions, but we had no way to prove it. Like, we were like, yeah, we want, you know what, we want to do this every week, but we can't meet every week, so we got to record a super long show every month and then record it and split it up into 3. You know what I mean? Like
it's a super long show, man. Those massive 3 hours.
Yeah, the same.
Especially the same as what we're doing now.
I know. You don't need to remind me.
You stupid idiot.
But the thing is, though, is that, you know, the only reason that we've been able to get this far, and by that I mean, you know, weekly shows, consistent shows, consistent content. Because back in the 11 days, this is the thing that people forget, is that while we were, you know, maybe super happy, positive, you know, shiny, happy people about FF11, and maybe that was a little bit more palatable for you to listen to, we also were releasing shows at the rate of maybe once a month. Sometimes it would take 2 months to get shows, and you know what? Yeah, they were long shows. Some of them
7 hours.
5-6 hours long. But the thing is that, like, wouldn't you?
Were some of them really that long?
They
yeah,
really,
absolutely.
They really, really were. But, you know, wouldn't you rather have consistent weekly content that, you know, you can download, that you know is going to be there for you every single Tuesday, that you know that you can tune in live to every single Sunday, and that you know that because we're live, you can make your voice heard right here on the show.
Just like Toby did.
Exactly, just like Toby did. And let's go back to the phones real quick and talk to Satori Komeji of Sargentanis. What's up, Satori?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, what's up?
Happy to call in, happy to get my feedback.
Okay, floor is yours, man. Go for it.
So I just want to say, one of the terms I watch a lot of Jim Sterling, and one of the terms he throws around a lot is value proposition, right? How much bang for my bang for my buck am I getting?
Right.
And I know you guys, you like the game fact that this game is like, you know, a subscription because it keeps the free to play, your usual free to play cancer out of this game.
Well, and I would have said probably up until Stormblood that it keeps the quality at an acceptable rate.
That's the reason that players that do pay a sub are willing to pay a sub, because they expect to get a product that's better than free-to-play models.
Yes, that's how I was justifying my continued sub. We get quarterly updates, which most free-to-play games don't get quarterly updates, and that those updates are of a generally higher quality than than other free-to-play games. I don't know that I can say with certitude that position anymore. I think that Square Enix has let this situation slide, where I think that you may have a point here, Satori, that, you know, how much bang for my buck am I really getting at? Even you know, and I'm a legacy subscriber.
Like when you subscribe, if you subscribe for 6 months, you're paying $80 for 6 months, right?
Right.
And in 6 months, throwing out the existence of the our Stormblood expansion, you're getting one raid tier, you're getting the 24-man raid, you're getting 3 dungeons, and that's at the very base of what you're getting. You're getting some new gear to chase after, and the ultimate fight, and 2 extreme trials.
Okay. Yeah.
For $80.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've been thinking, because I've been wanting to try out Elder Scrolls Online, and I've kind of found myself a little bit enamored about their subscription model, wherein you buy the game, you can play it like Guild Wars, but if you want to subscribe and get some extra benefits, you can. And I really like that idea, because in 14, you could subscribe, maybe you want the armory chest activated, so you subscribe.
But
or maybe you want to be able
ESO didn't start that way, though. They tried to do it the same way they do now, and they flopped, and that's why they had to switch their model.
And the thing is that, and this is 100% speculation, this is 100% opinion, but I have been following Square Enix and Final Fantasy Online development for long enough where I feel pretty comfortable saying this. Where and this is, I think, the overall concern, but I will admit that this is a bit of a straw man argument. But if Square Enix took this game free to play, given their other tactics inside of the space for microtransactions, whether it's a mobile game, whether it's a re-release of something, given the way that they have, shoehorn microtransactions into Deus Ex, right? Like, I foresee a bit of a hybrid between the ESO model and Star Wars: The Old Republic. I think that if it goes free to play, some big core functions are going to be locked behind a paywall. We had a caller 2 weeks ago. Was that 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago? That really kind of first brought this up before anyone else was talking about it, and they said that they could see a situation where Square Enix makes you pay for additional jobs, right? Like you want to level another job, game's free to play, but you got to pay, $10 for a new job, $5, whatever. I don't know what.
$10 to like play as a new job or to unlock
a new job so that you could switch between it, right? Like
so unlock $20 for Blue Mage.
Sure.
The even mention of something like that makes me want to strangle someone.
Okay, so what I see is something like that, which I would ascribe very much to Star Wars: The Old Republic, right, where they would lock, things like added hot bars behind paywalls, right, and then the element of Elder Scrolls Online that I see them working in is having that optional subscription if you want to keep shelling out however much every month, so that you don't have to bother with all that bullshit. That way, someone like myself or Kahlo, who only ever plays one job, right? Like, that is kind of attractive to us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's no way, like when they say free-to-play model, as long as there are people still willing to pay, they are definitely going to take your money.
Absolutely.
But in order to hold on to the people that might leave because they don't want to play, they're going to let them go free to play in the hopes that they will keep paying in some form or fashion.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the smart
jump potion to level 50.
That's the smart way to do it.
And again, this is why, dude, this is exactly why when you hear it, like, dude, that's a slippery slope when you put in something like jump potion. This is exactly why, because you're on the fucking road to free to play. And I mean, now even the goddamn game director is talking about it, right? Like, you can't sit here and say, oh, you're making shit up, or oh, that's just a crazy call, man, it's never going to happen. Dude, this is the same fucking shit happened with the jump potion, where they were talking about it.
They just casually throw it out there.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we'll do a jump potion at some point, but not anytime soon. And it's still in the discussion phase. Yeah, no. Guess what? If Yoshi P is telling you about it publicly, it's past the discussion phase.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to give someone a hit to get them hooked in.
Oh my God! And you know what? People justified the jump potion by being like, "Well, they already had it programmed into the game in Korea." So in China, yeah. So eventually, when this does go free to play, sort of like the model in Star Wars, people can be like, "Oh, well, the model was always already there." So
but we've been saying that
they've been making their money through the cash shop anyway.
But we've been saying that because the people who want to excuse shit like this are the same people that are going, "Well, 11 is still." Holding to a subscription model. It's because, listen, let me explain something to you. 11 was never built with the idea that microtransactions were a thing. Like,
it wasn't a thing then.
It wasn't a thing. You couldn't get away with that. Like, I'm pretty sure that there were companies that tried and failed miserably, right? There was no intrinsic value to digital items. That economy was still shaking itself out. People were still writing books about the way that digital economies were fucking forming. So you can't give me this bullshit like, oh, well, there was a market there. Blah, blah, blah. No, there fucking wasn't. There was literally nothing there. So Final Fantasy XI never built that into its code. Therefore, the portal that you need to access Final Fantasy XI, aka Play Online, you would have to remove all of that. You would have to strip FF11 from Play Online, which is going to take more development dollars than you will be able to make back by introducing microtransactions into such an old game. I will not accept, just because FF11 has a subscription still, that FF14 will always fucking have a subscription. That is not fucking true. There are very practical reasons why Square Enix would never be able to put microtransactions microtransactions into FF11, and they built FF14 in a post-microtransaction world. If you don't think that that was part of it, look at the fucking cash shop. It's already there. What more proof do you need?
Yeah, in order for something to go free to play, it needs to have a way to make money. FF11 doesn't have another way.
That's right.
And FF11 is basically done. They have like an update every so often to update the end game, and that's it.
They have a way they can sell you shitty necklaces and include codes.
Oh yeah, so
I mean,
and then there's not a cash shop, but there is there's DLC. So I mean. But that's the thing. Like Final Fantasy XI is done. Like there wouldn't be any point to adding a cash shop now at this point because they're done. People who are still paying for a Final Fantasy XI, they're going to be paying regardless of whether or not you have the cash up or not. So just make them have a fee, make them have the server fee.
Because it doesn't make a value sense, right? Like it's going to take more money to program in a shop, to remove play online, to have the even pipeline to be able to take care of something like that, then they would make money even if they had microtransactions and still charged a sub.
And
that's why they don't do it.
One thing real quick, Kylo. And if Final Fantasy XI was free to play before, like right now, there would be no way they would actually add a sub right now. The only reason it has a sub right now is because it's always had a sub.
Right.
All right. I need to give Nika a chance to call this person out on stream. Balti93 says Aquapolis 4.0 is getting updated. That's endgame and it's endless.
But in what world is maps endgame? You can do it with 4 people, and it's the most casual content ever. I don't like.
Didn't you want low man casual content for endgame, Nika?
Low man hard content, not casual. Low man content I can do with my 4 of my friends from my static that we can do on alternate days of the week that progresses our character and is hard, that requires progression, but it's different than the endgame that we have.
If I put my keyboard on my chair and let forth a torrent of diarrhea for the better part of 7 minutes, I would be able to get through Aquapolis just fine.
Well, I mean, they're saying that new, Endless one is coming out. Okay, we don't know exactly how hard that's going to be, but please tell me what will come out of that. That's not just things I sell for kill.
It gives you maximum item levels to craft with.
I know what this is gonna. I know how it's gonna go. It's gonna go. This new map is gonna go to some random stranger that you've never seen before, and you're gonna spend 30 minutes trying to clear this new set of 7 rooms so they can get all the loot because maps suck.
Exactly. I really and he's saying I can have a stat. Someone else was saying I could have 2 statics and just make sure that the second static is a group that's already cleared, so that way you can progress. And that doesn't make any sense because in this game they lock you out of shit so that if I clear 1 through 3 and then want to join another static to get more gear, first of all, I can't because I wouldn't be able to lot more than 1 thing a week. Secondly, is it would lock them out of getting more chests because I've already cleared. That is meant to be done in one group throughout the week. And the thing is that nobody raids that every week. I raid it 2 days a week. That's the time that fits with my group, and we have fun doing it. But the other 3 days of the week, I should have something to do. I should be able to progress my character. I should have more to do. I've gotten all my tomes. The only way I can progress now is to clear raid. That's all I have right now. And I really just wish that I could
just make an
there's nothing, and I really wish that this game allowed you one of the best things that 11 and 14 had is being able to level multiple jobs on one character. I am one of those people that levels every fucking job. I've got 10 at 70 already, and all of the crafts, and almost I've done all of them, and I just feel like I should be able to play those. So let me tank Tuesday and Thursday during the current raid that we have, then give me another piece of endgame content that lets me play Samurai. Why is this what I'm locked into doing? As fun as it might be, why is it the only thing that I have? Why I want to play this game. I want to throw and waste my life on this game. But when I log in on the 3 days I'm not raiding with my friends, I can't do anything because there is nothing to do.
Oh, well, but now you have
Aquapolis.
Well, not just Aquapolis. Well, now you have what is it? The fucking extra Bahamut fight now too.
Oh yeah,
unending. That's made for you.
Not until 4.1.
You gotta join everyone else.
Oh yeah.
First.
And the thing is that's still made to do with your group that you've already cleared the other 4 runs with. This is not different content. It's an add-on to the content we already have.
What Nika can't even do the Bahamut fight.
What Nika is saying. What Nika is saying is that she's really sick of her raid group and she wants anyone else to play with.
No, I love my raid group.
I'm kidding.
But the thing is that
I'd be sick of a group if I couldn't beat Neo.
Hey, we just started. We've only been in for one time.
Nika,
but,
you need better healers.
But I mean, like for a minute though, when Palace of the Dead was new content, you did get a little bit of that, where you did. Oh,
keep it up. Keep it up.
Oh,
thank you, Rendo.
Thanks, man. We are keeping it up.
Thanks, Rendos.
Keeping it real.
Anyway, but when we first got Palace of the Dead, it was a little bit like that, because you would have either groups that would break off from a raid, or you would, you'd be able to have a different party comp. Like, you'd be able to pull people from your free company or link shell. Like, that was a little bit refreshing. But again,
you also got a 235 weapon when the item level cap was 240.
I mean, I'm not.
So that was actually useful.
I mean, yeah, it was, but only very temporarily, which was, kind of the complaint about it. But it was, again, that breakup of content was nice. And the thing is that, like, if we didn't have these major beats that we knew that we would be counting on, that we kind of roll our eyes about getting, a body in the chat, who, by the way, claims that they're being bullied, such a victim, like they're claiming, like, oh, well, suddenly 24-man content is going to be not considered endgame. The thing is that when it's fucking copied and pasted from what we expected before, we know that there's going to be 4 bosses. We know that there's going to be trash packs in between. Like, we know how exactly this is going to be laid out. It's these major beats that it's like, can we have one less of these to have anything else,
something new?
The problem here is imagine if your favorite TV show was coming back for season 2 and they played season 1 again, dude, and passed that off as season 2.
But they changed the names. They changed the names of some of the characters, and they called it new.
Satori, I heard the Rick and Morty drop. That was
fuck
good.
You, Dick.
That was no. That was totally. I love that. But no. But I'm sorry. Did people not? Did half the people who went to go see The Force Awakens not shit their pants because it was basically a remix of fucking A New Hope?
Yup, that was my biggest problem with it.
And we've gotten A New Hope 3 fucking times in a row.
And Star Wars fans eat it up.
We didn't even get a pale comparison of it. We've got it's like now we're getting A New Hope again, except this time we've stripped out some of the parts that you like and we've replaced it with needless garbage. We've replaced it with footage of
getting her nails done.
of George Lucas jerking off for half an hour.
That's a different
Honestly, myself and a lot of Star Wars fans I know are actually in that like waiting phase, like we were with 14, whereas we know they brought back Star Wars and that episode 7 definitely followed the formula. They played it safe. It was good, but we saw the problems with it. The issue now is that if episode 8 follows that same path and just repeats episode 5,
they're gonna have
there's going to be problems here. However, if it deviates, as 14 should have but didn't, if Star Wars deviates, because now that they've reeled us back in, they know, like, they've got the fan base, the fan base knows they can make a good movie. Now's their time to deviate, and if they don't, my hopes for Star Wars are also going to plummet. Like, this is that pivotal moment. And 14 had that at Heavensward launch, and 14 had that at Stormblood launch, and both times they have failed.
If episode 8 repeated the same steps as episode 5, but they canceled 9, that'd be pretty awesome.
I don't know about that. I don't know. Anyway, Satori, thanks for the call. We always appreciate hearing from you. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Let's talk about these patch 4.1 notes.
All right, so obviously the big thing that we're going to be getting is more MSQ. All right, how many MSQs though exactly? 1, 2, 3,
10, I think,
5,
which is more than previous patches.
Yeah, I definitely when scrolling through, it doesn't seem as sparse as some of those Heavensward patches felt.
I remember we were complaining that there was like 4 MSQ quests in Heavensward. Yes. Like, having 10, that's decent.
That's a step in the right direction.
Here's what I want to know. Like, every single one of these is just a box with a bunch of question marks. Why not just put MSQ is coming and go on to the next one? Why do you need all of these boxes?
Just so to show us how many quests there are. Otherwise, we'll just complain that there's one quest.
Okay, well, you can say, and then question mark box times 7. That's all you need to do.
It looks silly. New Chronicles of a New Era quests have been added. This is obviously going to be for the Return to Ivalice raid.
Yeah.
Yep. And we can go to the Royal Menagerie now. That's cool. You can get up there and do...
People were asking about it because the sky looks so pretty.
Isn't that...
That's Shinryu area.
Is that talking about more than just Shinryu X? Or
no, that's saying you can go to the zone.
You can actually go to that zone now and like hang out in there.
Because you couldn't before.
Yeah, so I think that's where all of the ERPers are going to end up at.
Yeah. FF14's Rape Tavern.
Exactly.
Okay, no, because not everyone can go there. It has to be somewhere low level so you can rape the newbies.
You know that Bahamut. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna just plow right past it. You know that that specific zone in Bahamut is just gonna be covered in jizz, like e-jizz, but jizz nonetheless.
Are they letting us go to the Bahamut zone too?
Huh? No, I'm saying on the
Belmong. Belmong's the one you're talking about. Yes. Oh yeah.
Wow.
No, definitely.
Stupid idiot.
Stupid Belmong.
Yeah.
You're not even worth. Your name's not even worth remembering.
New side stories have been added, which basically looks like it's going to be Hildebrand. Now, don't be expecting anything too crazy because there was an interview with Yoshi where he said this is basically just more of a preview than anything.
Oh, you mean like Heaven's Word, Hildebrand?
The very first one too was just definitely a preview.
No, all fucking quests that we did was basically a preview for nothing.
Yeah.
For absolutely nothing.
Why can't we have substantial Hildebrand in every patch? Like if the fact is that people do like Hildebrand, if they gave us worthwhile Hildebrand content in every patch, why can't we have that exactly?
Because that's not how they do things, Nika. We need UI updates and simplified job gauges.
Oh, that's right.
Jesus.
Balmung says, "Don't king shame our ERP." Yo, shut up, you furget.
They're finally nerfing the final stage of the old relic with the etheric condensation. Also, apparently adding new ways to get it. And the Kojin Beast Tribe quest. This is probably the thing that I'm most excited for, and there's not even that much excitement behind it.
Oh, really? You're super excited for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah.
Cool.
I actually really do like Beastman quests. I max them all the moment they come out, and I do like them.
Okay, you know what? I used to like Beastman Tribe quests, and I maxed them out instantly. Until they added the fucking crafting shit, which is the most annoying fucking shit in the goddamn world, because I don't want to fucking craft.
It is, but if you exclude the Ixali and the Mughals, every other Beastman quest since they've been implemented have gotten better and better and better.
Yeah.
So just ignore the Mughals.
But now I can't, because I have to fucking max out the Mughals to get the endgame quest, right? The last quest with all the Beastmen.
Yeah.
I can't do that because Mughals fucking suck, so now I just don't even want to fucking do the Kojin.
Then don't. You're not gonna. I mean,
sorry.
All right. Well, thanks for contributing to the problem. That's our.
I mean, I don't have a solution for you. I wouldn't want to do it either.
Well, I don't either.
Make it easy. Just make
it easier.
Make it so I don't have to do those things, Square Enix.
Yeah.
Just don't waste time making crafting quests. That's what I want.
Shut up.
They're also, of course, adding the Lost Canals of Uznair. So this is the addition to the Aquapolis.
Oh, that's endgame.
No, don't we already have that? I thought
they're making it deeper.
It's the endless version of it. Yeah.
No, it's not even endless. There's only like there's like what,
there's
5 or 6
six
floors.
more rooms or something.
It's endless because it changes, I guess, or something. I don't even know what.
The first time they announced it, they said endless, but now in the patch note, it's like there's 6 new rooms you might be able to get to the end of. Which is like basically the same thing as before.
It's not endless.
I do like the way that these zones are designed, though.
They're cool.
Fun.
They look cool, and don't you have to like? They said something about you have to go underwater to be able to get to these like new areas too.
Maybe, and it's not that content isn't fun either. I really enjoy doing maps. I think it's definitely a fun addition to the game, but again, it's very casual content. It's not something I'm going to log on 3 days a week to do with a group of friends.
Yeah. It says that if you get the vault key, that it can be used to open 1 of 3 doors, and should your party be lucky enough to choose the correct one, you will be allowed to progress through 6 subsequent chambers and eventually fight your way to the final chamber.
So it's the same thing, but with 3 doors. You only have a 33.33% chance of picking the right door instead of 50.
But if you do get the right one, you get to go all the way, apparently.
Maybe.
Or there was something in the original interview, it said something about double or nothing, but it doesn't actually say that in the patch notes. I couldn't quite figure out how that's supposed to work.
Apparently, they made several changes, so they've added quote-unquote new rewards. And by new rewards, they mean they've added stuff that you can get other places, but it's new to the Canals of Uznair.
Yeah.
Grand and Free Companies. They've made some additions to the Adventurer Squadrons, which I'm so not looking forward to this at all. In one of the interviews, Yoshi has said
here's the content that we're waiting for.
that the emotes are going to be like the primary objective reward of these. That's what you want to work your way towards, is getting the push-up and the squat emotes.
I mean, I definitely want those emotes. We've been waiting for that squat emote since fucking 1.0. However, again, what would be cool is if I could then use this to somehow advance.
You know, every other game in the entire universe, you just get emotes for free because it's part of the fucking game. They don't use them as rewards.
99 cents.
Jesus. No. It would be
coming soon to an Eorzea near you.
$3.
$7. It's
wait, how much was
Doma?
How much
premium.
How much was Play Dead?
$7.
They're all $7.
$7 for
all
an
the
emote.
emotes on the
$7?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a meal.
I mean,
that's fucking
remote too.
It's half a meal if you're me.
Like, I really want the backflip and the Play Dead, but I can't justify spending $21, so I just spent $7 on the fucking Eastern Dance.
Yeah, so the way that this is basically going to be, you progress through is you go through, and similar to how your Chocobo companions have like freeform, tank, healer, and DPS stat, your squadron mates will have to level up to get the different stances and whatnot.
And be smarter in each
and
little
be
mode.
smarter, yeah. Like Yoshi said that in freeform, the healer is programmed to raise people over curing someone. So if someone dies and someone needs a cure, they'll start to raise somebody else instead until you make them smart enough to know you should cure someone if you're in a fight before you raise someone.
I mean, do you guys ever get frustrated with the fact that, you know, if they hadn't raised the level cap, that would have been like 6 dungeons that they could have, you know, thrown in there over time? You know what I mean? Like, there's needless amounts of dungeons while you're leveling up that you never see again unless you start leveling another character or you want to do leveling roulettes, because who wants to do that shit? But I mean, like, honestly, like that seems like a really big waste of assets. It seems like a waste of instancing, like, right? Like,
hold on, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Adventuring Squadrons is more useless than Lords of Verminion.
We don't know that yet. Yeah, I'm not going to go there.
I'm calling that. I'm calling that.
Get the fuck out of here.
No, I'm calling that right now.
I don't know. You might be able to.
I'm not.
If you're able to solo, like, you know, do shit solo dolo style with getting XP out of it, like, that's pretty useful.
Well, these are the eligible dungeons we'll be able to go into: Holly Tolly, the Thousand Maws of Toto Rock, Brayflox's Long Stop, the Stone Vigil, and the Wanderer's Palace.
Oh, Jesus.
Basically every single dungeon from 2.0 launch except for AK. And Karn, because that's an 8-man.
Again, if you can get XP out of it, I can figure out mentally where this is supposed to fit. I would never do this ever, like, ever, under any fucking circumstance.
I'm gonna try it, and if it's bullshit, I'm gonna quit.
I would just, I honestly, I would just rather queue, even if I'm queuing a job that's going to take forever to fucking queue.
Here's the question, though: if you can get XP out of this, if it's not as good as going into Deep Dungeon, what was the fucking point?
Exactly. That's what I want to know. Like, is this going to be more fun than running it with 3 real people?
Fuck no.
Exactly. So
it's going to be exactly the same.
Or is the system at all going to be different? Is the dungeon going to feel different? Is there going to be something that makes this feel like different content than just running it with people?
In fact, no. It's actually going to feel exactly the same, because to start off with, your people don't even know enough to fucking heal or raise. So it's going to feel like running a dungeon with noobs, Nika.
Yeah.
Yay. And then they have a huge long thing explaining the different tactics and crap like that. You can glamour them. Jux is upset about that.
Yeah, which is dumb because, you know, back in the day, you had to, like, farm, like, specific people, and they had specific glamours that wouldn't change, and it's really hard to get them, but now, fuck it, I guess. Who cares?
Yeah, fuck it. Of course. Why would you think that anything else would?
Just glam it however you want.
Plots can now be purchased in Shirogane.
Cuckam.
AKA Housing Savage Go. That is our endgame content.
I mean, yeah, you know, if you want to look like you are the brand new owners of a China Walk franchise, then go for it. Purchase land in Shirogane. I mean, I don't know why you would, though. Like, I have no intention on wanting my house to look like the fucking Chinese theater in L.A.
Well,
like,
what about getting an apartment in Shiragane's Kobai Goten building?
How about I'd rather eat a bullet?
I'm actually mad that houses can't be, or apartments can't be relocated. So it's like, what's the fucking point?
You just buy a new one.
No,
fuck that.
Fuck, Square Enix gave those dirty pores a pass
Hey, I have an apartment.
by putting out the apartment. Why? Why do you have an apartment? That's weird. You're married.
Because I share the house with Surin, but he doesn't like some of my decorating choices, so I make my own in my apartment.
Yeah, right.
It's where I go when he and I get in a fight, and I want my own space.
When you get into an e-fight?
Now,
my God.
Like I'm gonna, like I'm
role playing. There you go.
I could see them arguing in the kitchen. Then she's like, "You know what?" And she stomps off into the room, and he's like, "What now?" And he follows her as she logs on. He's like, "What are you doing?" She teleports out of their house and goes into her apartment building, crosses her arm, looks at him, goes, "There. Now what?" There. Ha.
No. It was.
How many times has Amric been to that apartment?
That is a secret. I cannot disclose that information.
Hold on. Let me rephrase. How many times have
Nika's got a secret fuck apartment.
Have you pretended Emmerich been to that apartment?
Again, I cannot disclose this information.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We know what goes down there.
Players can now swim in all residential areas.
I'm excited for this for about 5 seconds.
Our royal bath doesn't look very like murdery.
Why would it look murdery? It's
The
supposed to be
goblet?
where nobles would frolic.
Because we talked about like how in Spartacus there was like a huge like murder orgy that happened in there.
What are you talking about?
The goblets? They're like it's going to be a royal bathhouse. It doesn't look like a royal bathhouse. It looks like a public.
There wasn't. Hang on. Where do you get murders from bathhouses? That's just a lot of circle jerking.
The original context writing was that it was going to be some kind of noble bath where nobles would frolic, and he goes, "Oh, like in
Spartacus, where they killed each other."
I don't know.
But I believe I requested the hand job.
Everybody died. Spoilers.
God, your historical context is really bad.
No, it's an HBO show.
Yeah, but I mean, bathhouses mostly was where people went to fuck each other.
And I'm Spartacus.
And then
and then murder them after they fucked.
And then they died, yeah.
Well, because it happens in a scene or two in a fucking your shitty gay Spartacus fanfic.
Happened in a lot of scenes.
I'm Spartacus.
Oh, Juxta, this one's for you. New blank partition furnishings can be added, which can then be decorated with several different wallpaper designs.
Why was this not in the game already?
Why do you want this? This is stupid.
No, so then you can just decorate every partition so they're not just boring.
So you can look like you have schizophrenia. Like I decided to put one wallpaper here and one wallpaper there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Terrible.
New orchestrion rolls, new aquarium interiors, new fish, that kind of bullcrap.
I like that.
He cares about that.
Yeah.
I like that.
New prizes are available for MGP. What is that he's riding? Is that like a sentient seedling?
Yeah, we fight those in the
Yes,
Arboretum.
they're in Arboretum.
They came from Final Fantasy 13.
They were in 13.
It looks
hideous.
super creepy.
It's hideous. Oh, you missed that a new seed for flower pots has been added.
Shut the fuck up.
Aren't you excited for the new seeds for your flower pots?
I'm more excited for the new
It's an entire heading
that I won't get.
Bright Lily.
The what?
Bright Lily
What'd you say?
seeds.
I want the round thing for my card. What is that? What is that? It's just this
It's like a
fucking
piece of
round
moss.
blob.
It's a piece of moss.
Unleavened bread.
It's my nutsack.
I'm pretty sure we also have those as monsters too.
Those
are in they're in the fucking fringes. They're in the water. They're basically called moss somethings. Mosslings. Mosslings, that's what they're called.
They're so small I would have never.
Oh, here you go. Go down to the new emotes have been added.
Yeah, I remember.
New emotes have been added.
I'm Spartacus.
One of them's just talking, but the other one looks like domestic abuse.
Yes.
It's boxing, actually.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's /boxing.
So now you can beat your wife.
That is definitely
the top one is like
domestic abuse.
/converse. So when you go AFK, now you can look like you're talking to someone and not actually just AFK, I guess. Now are these ones these are ones we don't have to pay for, or
probably have to do a quest for them though.
1,000 MGP to talk.
Oh, they're in the MGP
probably.
shop?
Probably. It'll be 10,000 MGP.
I meant to say 100,000.
If they're in there, yeah. New hairstyles have been added.
Listen, I think it's really progressive of Square Enix to be so accepting of the redneck culture and lifestyle to allow you to now beat your wife in game.
It's fitting that it's an aura male as well,
right? I think that's really appropriate.
Yeah, you'd think she would have left him by now, but she's probably on denial about the whole thing. New hairstyles have been added, including
why would you use those two character models? Like, it really does. Like, and if you use those two character models, why not use the girl that's punching? Like, it's just the context of this image is so fucked up. Where she just she looks like she's cowering in fear. Like, she's like, please don't hit me. I love you.
Not again.
Like, they should have given her like whatever the idle stance is, so you can tell that she's boxing and not just being beat up on.
It definitely looks like he's like, that was a warning punch. Don't make me tell you again.
What do you tell a girl with 2 black eyes? Nothing. You already told her twice.
God damn it.
Oldest joke ever. It's not. That's a fucking hack joke.
Yeah, I've heard it.
There is a shit ton of battle-related stuff that's been changed.
You're not going to talk about the new hairstyles, Kahlo?
I mentioned them. One of them's Heian's. Nobody gives a fuck.
Is that Heian?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Dragoon is like a new job.
Dragoon is getting $1 million.
Jeez, look at it.
$1 million. Every single move is getting like a 10 potency increase.
Yeah, well, amazing. Dragoons were pretty fucked.
Yeah, you know
they
why?
Were, and they're lowering their eye requirement from 4 to 3.
You know why? It's because heavy thrust damage effect is getting reduced from 15 to 10. They're making the job easier.
Yay.
Of course.
Well, they're making it. Well, the thing is that Dragoon, because of how complicated it's been to build up, by the time like the boss then jumps and they lose everything, the Dragoon has been pretty solidly near the bottom of the DPS for a while now. Yeah. So honestly, it needs this.
Nobody cares.
The range DPS roll actions, Addle, Mana Shift, and Apocastasis are all getting significant reduction in their recast time too, to the tune of like 30 seconds each.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
That is pretty significant. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's definitely a lot of action changes. So be sure to look up the notes if you want all of the specifics on that. But yeah, there's definitely a lot going on here. I was a little bit disappointed to not see Dark Knight included in this. MMO Examiner, a site that we absolutely loathe here on the show.
Why they examine the MMOs?
They had just published a think piece about do Dark Knights need to do more damage? And you know what?
And they're like, someone on Reddit thinks so.
Exactly.
That's what MMO Examiner comes down to. They're like, let's pose a question that this Redditor asked.
That someone on Reddit answered 3 weeks ago.
The end.
It's so fucking lazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that and I was like, I wonder if we're
going to...
No, but no.
No, it doesn't.
Can we do that
doesn't.
now?
You know what? In Square Enix's eyes, yes, that counts as content. A new dungeon, the Drowned City of Scala, has been added. You might see that, in one of 4 dungeons now?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're adding it to the expert, so now it's a whole... instead of the expert changing up every time, we're just getting added. Now, at least
so that you see the new one less and less.
And we do have some variety now, but
are you guys sick of fighting that fucking monk? Or are you like how?
I like it for the monk lore. It's a pretty cool dungeon, but
I never get that.
I'm over
the
it.
temple.
Really?
I always get fucking
the temple.
Kagane, and I hate it. I hate it.
I get.
It used to be a expert roulette Alamigo. That was basically the.
I was going to say what we got what we got the other day when we streamed was Alamigo.
Yeah.
For me, it's always Alamigo or
what is it?
The one with Yojimbo.
Oh, I never get that one.
Yeah,
I got that one today.
Really? Yeah, I never get that.
It's pretty evenly split nowadays. It used to be basically just the Alamigo roulette, but it has changed up.
Yeah. A new trial, the Minstrel's Ballad, Shinryu's Domain, has been added. I feel like you shouldn't be able to go to the Menagerie until you beat this.
Yeah, I agree. That way we can cut down on the fucking ERPing.
Yep. Or at least make sure that it's quality ERPing.
I mean, there's a lot that they've shown off about this fight visually that looks pretty cool. Like getting knocked off the platform, having to...
fight on his back.
Yeah, run down his back, avoid lasers, it looked like. But I'm not... I have not done an EX when it was current since Shiva.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Mine was the second Warring Triad.
Actually, I think my last one was trying to get a clear of Bismarck with Kahlo, or was that with...
Really?
Was that with you, Aniro?
It may have been with me.
Yeah.
Because you know what I did do? But I did Bismarck after, but it wasn't current. I don't think.
I tried it when it was current. I'm like, this is pointless.
Because people suck so much.
Yeah, it's really hard.
If you don't get that shit done in the first 2 weeks, then just don't.
Yeah, just it's pretty much don't bother.
Yeah.
Or wait months later and get a group.
People still wipe to freaking Bismarck normal when I get it on trial.
Oh my
gosh. It's ridiculous.
We got by the way, I know we got Captain Marvelous of Leviathan holding on the line. We're going to get to him in just a second. We just want to get to the other side of these notes. So we've also got the
Alliance raid,
Rabanaster.
Although that's not actually being added this patch.
Rabanasty.
A few patches afterwards.
Wait, what? What'd you say?
Rabanaster?
Rabanasty. What? It's not going to be. It's not going to be added right away.
No, we get it in patch 1.15.
No,
or something. Or
the 24 man.
Yeah,
we get that in 1.1.
Oh, what are the ones that are
4.1?
What all is being delayed then?
Why are you saying 1.1?
Right, 4.1. Rival Wings PvP is getting delayed to 4.15.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
Not.
And isn't Ultimate Bahamut being delayed too?
Is it?
Go to the very top of the patch notes for me while I keep reading, because those are the ones. Okay, we're getting our Duty Roulette Alliance raids. Yay!
No, it's Unending Coil of Bahamut Ultimate that is scheduled for 4.11.
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
And Christ, Square Enix, put all in the one fucking patch. God.
And the Bard action performance and new PvP encounter Rival Wings is scheduled for patch 4.15.
Yeah, great. So, Duty Roulette Alliance raids.
Stop lying, Kahlo.
Fake news.
Fake news.
I'm Spartacus.
A bunch of PvP stuff that I don't really give a shit about or want to read because there's a lot of it. New items have been added. What gear is this? It's terrible looking. It's probably crafted crap.
Let me take a look. Oh, no.
That was the contest winner.
Holy God, the first one is awful.
Oh my God, I think it was.
That's the healer contest gear that won.
Holy shit.
How do you guys feel about that now, you stupid morons?
Do you think that's coming out of Evilise?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it can't.
I doubt it. I am almost 100% positive that anything that comes out of Evilise is going to be referential to 12.
New dice have been added.
No, I want tactics.
You may get tactics. You might get tactics. But the thing is that
what have they shown that is Final Fantasy Tactics related?
Nothing.
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 No,
Nothing.
Wait. The concept.
Shut the fuck up.
Concept art.
Shut the fuck up.
But
I'm Spartacus.
But we haven't seen the gear though. We don't know what the gear is.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is that
maybe we're getting recolors of the fucking sushi gear.
See, the thing is that Tactics though was visually not that elaborate or intricate.
It looked good.
It looked fine.
But we already have all the gear styles,
exactly. It looked fine. It looked fine for what Tactics was, right? Like for an MMO, how do you make that? Yeah, how do you make that work? Yeah, you've already got all of these different intricate armor sets. I just don't see it working. But you do have that armor intricacy in FF12, right? They're
fine as long as I get to wear Fran's gear. I am Spartacus.
They've added metallic orange and yellow dye. That's cool, right?
Guess I can I can finally be a shiny Pikachu.
Oh God,
I hate you.
Oh my. They've added some new mounts, including a flying couch. God, it's so stupid.
Why is this in the game?
Why do you do the Gendo pose from Evangelion when you sit in it? That is the most anime weeaboo bullshit. What the fuck shoes are he? He looks like he's wearing shoes like Marty McFly from Back to the Future.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. You beat me.
Glamour can now be unlocked at level 15.
Excuse you, Schleppnir can now fly.
We've talked about that before.
Fuck off.
I'm excited. I bought that for you.
All right, here we go. When receiving a friend's request,
the koala bear is the worst thing that I've seen.
Yeah.
I hope it humps you after a while.
Here's the thing.
Just furious humping.
Stop spreading this myth that koala bears are nice and cuddly.
Gentle people.
They're fucking assholes and they smell like shit. Fucking koala bears are awful.
Can we start calling them Juxtabears then?
I mean, it's a little confusing.
But he's an asshole who smells like shit.
I get it. I understand that. It's just very confusing.
All right, you can now add friends from other servers to your friends list.
Woohoo! Thanks, Play Online.
How did it take this long to get this? This is a core function of almost any MMO.
The only other people that don't have this down is Nintendo.
Oh my god. That's a sad realization.
Yeah.
It's okay. Nika is typing to Nintendo right now to get that fixed.
That's right.
Players can now use Party Finder
Wall of
recruits
text.
For cross-world alliance raids and custom matches.
Hey.
I think that's
this is we're really kind of.
There's just a bunch of bullshit at this point.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Like I said, go check it out yourself.
But there's pages of bullshit.
I know, that's what doesn't make any sense. These are probably some of the longest patch notes we've ever had, and there's nothing here.
Yeah.
Hey, new color filters and screen patterns have been added for group pose and idling camera. Nika, can you show us some of your G poses pictures that you've taken?
I did. I love my G pose pictures.
The location and gathering points in the peaks have been adjusted.
The following
companions and minions can be summoned at the same time. Game of the Year 2017.
They are adding 11 new things to the cash shop. That's happening.
Jesus.
Yep. They put that right at the very bottom.
Yeah,
I saw it, Square Enix.
I see it. All right, that takes care of the patch 4.1 preliminary patch notes. Obviously, lots of reaction from the FF14 community this week. I'm not seeing that much positive. I'll be honest with you.
No.
I don't know, that idiot in the chat, like Hexed C or something. He says there's a lot of content. So
no,
I think I'm changing my tune because he said
I'm just trying to figure out how going back and doing like 04 or freaking Omega, like Alexander 4S at minimum eye level or whatever the fuck ever is content that's supposed to keep me playing. Like, please.
Why would you do? Who would do that?
Because that's what I've been arguing in the chat right now is with someone who's telling me that, oh, okay, on the off days where you're not raiding, go back and do the content you didn't clear when it was relevant. Like, I've been trying to find a group to clear 04 and 08, even like not level synced, and nobody wants to do it. So it's like it's not like I haven't tried.
Well,
let's be real.
Nika, that's the challenge. That's part of the challenge is finding people who want to redo it with you.
That's the content.
Yeah, see, now it's going to last you even longer.
That's right.
Such content. Wow. Much
compel.
Let's go back
to Party Finder for a month. That's exactly what I want to do.
Let's go back to our phone lines and talk to Captain Marvelous of Leviathan. What's going on, Captain Marvelous?
Hey, guys. It's been a while. How have you been doing?
Good. Thanks for sitting on hold there for a minute.
Yeah, no problem. I just wanted to point out before I said anything, does anybody notice that 4.1 makes Dark Knight basically Shitty Warrior?
How does it make it Shitty Warrior?
Because they just gave Warrior Dark Knight's Blackest Night, except they extend to the whole party.
Oh, I didn't even catch that little note. No, I didn't.
Shake it off?
I didn't see it.
Shake it off.
Did not see that. But you know what? Kind of sucks. Feels like a little bit of a kick in the dick. Just take one of my tools, give it to Warrior, make it better. Fine. I'm used to it by now.
Well,
whatever.
see, now you know how Warriors felt when they gave us their, what's that blood move that
Us. Like he's ever leveled Warrior.
Bloodlust.
That was for Kooky, sorry.
Yeah, right.
Bloodbath, they took away.
There you go, yeah. Kooky loves that I have that, and she doesn't anymore.
Why would Kooky have that? She's a healer.
Shut up. Anyway, what's going on, Captain?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about Final Fantasy XIV going free to play. I don't think it's going to happen. Not because it won't work, but because if it goes free to play, that's an admission on Square Enix's part that they fucked up a second time.
Yeah, I'm thinking that after, you know what, the thing is though is that you can blunt that shame by going, yeah, but we had it out for 4 years of subscription payments and we're quite satisfied with that.
That's right.
And the thing is that there are no really the only other person, and we've talked about this when we actually like really looked into which games have subscription models anymore. There's really just WoW. It's really, at this point, just WoW that does the hard subscription. That's the thing that determines whether you can log in or not. And, you know, like, they're never going to get to the point where they're chasing WoW. Like, despite what the fuck they say, they're never going to get to the point where they're chasing a game like WoW. And so I think they're... And we've also seen other games do it and have almost no blowback. ESO has done it quite successfully. There are other games that have gone from a sub-model to free-to-play. I think that it's not going to be seen as a mark of shame.
Oh, no, definitely. I mean, obviously, some of us as players, especially the veteran ones, know that, yeah, that would kind of be a failure on their part. But in today's day and age, it would be so easy for them to spin it as, look, you know, in the shifting MMO market and with the way that things are developed and the way that people play for it, we think that we can deliver a stronger product to our player base by adopting this new model that alleviates them of financial burden. And then they'll be able to play more and longer without having to pay for it.
Right.
It's all about how they spin it.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a remarkably good point. Captain, any thoughts?
Yeah. You know, if a lot of people say defend Final Fantasy XIV being a theme park Final Fantasy game, but we already have a game like that. It's called Final Fantasy Record Keeper, and I wailed like a bitch on that already. And, you know, if they go free to play, I have no confidence that they'll be able to price it competitively. It's going to be like $50 for a new job, $30 for a new raid. Square Enix has no fucking idea what they're doing when it comes to microtransactions.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Yoshi actually said in one of the interviews we're hopefully going to cover a little bit later in the show that nobody touches those Tales of Adventure like he thought they would. Surprise!
Oh, I wonder why. I wonder why. And the thing is that, like, they again, the thing that Square Enix gets the most wrong, the most consistently, is incentive. Rewarding players for going out of their way to do a thing. You know, if the reward was never there for Wondrous Tales. It was, I mean, for just a brief moment of time when that crafting gear was hard to get, and some of it was pretty damn good. But how long did that last? It lasted exactly 4 months, and then done. Like, no one's why would anyone do Wondrous Tales at this point? I think that's a better question than, well, why aren't they? You know, like, it's obvious to me where this game is hitting its slow points, because I feel it. Like, it's when I ask myself, like, hey, what would I rather do? Would I rather, you know, beat off for 20 minutes, or would I rather, you know,
3 days is all it will take to play the content greater than, and then log out before next patch starts again. Oh boy! Exclamation.
Okay, you know, you're being awfully generous. I'm going to do all the content in an afternoon and then log off for the rest of the patch.
And that's, dude, when I was, you know, trying to catch up with Stormblood, like, yeah, you know, some of those cutscenes took a while to get through and some of the story took a while to get through, but it's like, dude, like, do you really think that this is going to keep a player base who wants to log in every day satisfied? And why are you not even considering that? Why are you not even considering that as an option for development? Like, that's, I think, the thing that bothers me, is that, like, this has always been what Square Enix has been doing with FF14. Like, I don't think that they ever had a plan to try to court a veteran player base or to have a long-term plan.
You know, it's definitely a problem that a lot of MMOs face. I mean, when Destiny 2 was, you know, 1-2 weeks out of release, I remember seeing a headline that one thing that it's struggling with, despite its good reception, is balancing the endgame between casual and hardcore players. And that's something that a lot of MMOs burn out real quick because they don't have an endgame to do. And it's like Square Enix looks at that and goes, you know what? Fuck it then. Let's just go for the casual shit.
Yeah, we're just going to try to get new people all the time.
Why does every single MMO just, like, fail in the end game? Every, like, new MMO. Like, every time I hear about a new MMO, I always hear about it crashing and burning because they don't have an end game.
Because
you need to find, because they need to find a way to keep people logging in after they've leveled.
And the games that do end up putting a lot of thought into their end game don't have a good enough initial hook to keep people there from the beginning. A lot of people like to trot out WildStar. WildStar was a game that had great end game, and they didn't
It was the like hyper difficult one, right?
Not necessarily hyper difficult, but it was varied. There was
an attunement system, and I don't know if you remember in Burning Crusade.
I remember Burning Crusade.
It was worse than that.
Oh,
yeah.
So, but here's the thing: is that everyone goes, well, but WildStar didn't they did the whole hardcore endgame scene and they failed. And dude, the reason that game failed was because nobody bought into the premise. Nobody bought into the world that they were developing. Nobody bought into the universe that they were developing. They went like, oh, gnomes in space. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Oh. They tried it. Dude, and this is what MMO fans do. They'll try something for 30 days and then they'll move the fuck on. And they'll make their judgments in that 30 days. Is that necessarily fair? Nah, not really. But if you don't have a strong enough hook that keeps them there, you're never going to be able to amass an audience big enough to even be able to take half of a shot at WoW. And I see that as FF14's primary problem. Plus, every decision that they've made so far has been it's just abnormally safe. It's the decision that will get you the highest return the quickest, but maybe will burn out quicker. And I think that's really sad, a sad state of affairs to see as a person who wants to be able to continue playing this game for a long time. When they developed FF11, they developed it so that and Nika had put this perfectly. When you hit 75, when you hit the cap, there was a whole nother game for you to play, and it literally felt like a whole nother game. There were concepts that they introduced to you between 1 and 75.
It was the beginning. Like leveling was not anything in 11. It was just the means to the beginning.
Right. Exactly.
Whereas here it's like, okay, there's no more content. Go back and everyone's like, oh, you can level more. And that's content,
right? Like, and I'm not saying that it was necessarily a perfect alternative, but it did do a couple. It did do a couple of really important things. It made me feel more connected to my game character. It made me feel more connected to the world. It made the world feel bigger, and it made me rely on my companions, i.e. my link shell, to be able to get shit done. Those are some very, very important psychological aspects that you have to add in to your MMO. If you lack that, what's the difference between your MMO and a single-player game? Legit question. Honestly. I mean, even in
oh gosh,
you're right. Even in single player games, though, the player has to be properly motivated.
See, the problem here with that not the problem with the analogy, but the problem with that, and it works for the analogy, is they want you to pay $60, play this game, right, and then for $12 a month, they want you to keep replaying that game.
And not look. It was a big ask of a player base to go, listen, we need you to invest probably about a year and a half in leveling to get to the actual part of the game. Right? Like, that is it's a big, like,
to be fair,
leveling in 11 was, they asked a lot of their player base to be able to get to the meat of the game. What did we tell people? When this was an FF11 show, and we would run across someone that would be like, yeah, man, I got to the 60s, and then I
burned out pretty hard.
I burned out, and it wasn't interesting, and it was like we would tell them, like, oh, you were almost right there, right? Like, and because it was so intrinsically true. Like, if you stopped in the leveling process for FF11, which, by the way, no one held against you. I think every FF11 player, if they heard that story, like, man, I burned out at 60, it's less like I'm mad at you for not getting to the to the other side of it, and more along the lines of, like, you were so close though, like, it's almost like a disappointment as opposed to, oh, I'm mad at you for not completing some, you know what I mean? Like,
but the thing with, like, Final Fantasy XI's endgame was that it didn't even necessarily start at 75. Like, you could go into dynamics at 60.
That is true.
I think it was 69, wasn't it? Or 61?
It was something before it. It was something
it's
before.
Not 75.
Yeah.
Well, that was also because technically the cap wasn't like
50.
Yeah, it was 50.
It was 50
and then with
initially,
quote unquote Rise of the Zillard expansion, which we got out the gate, they increased it to 75.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, like there was a much more consciousness of the way that content was structured. And one of the brilliant things about Dynamis is that when that first came out, that must have been fucking impossible. Like it must have felt fucking impossible because you weren't at 75 yet. You were, it was. Like
nobody knew
and
how
it was
gear
still
worked
but
or
it was
stats.
still right but it was still how hard was it still even like 2 years into Dynamis at 75, right? Like imagine being everyone at 60 or 59 or whatever the fuck it was to get in.
At that point, you just can't world in with the maximum 64 players.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You just throw people at it. You just throw bodies at it. That was a tactic.
That was a tactic.
Yeah. Big pulls, lots of bodies.
Just spam that Slipka
over and over and over and over and over again.
And again, it's not a perfect situation because that was it was a huge ask. And there's no like, no one's going to buy FF14 on a whim and then want to invest that much to level all the way to cap to then unlock the second half of the game. But that's not even the fucking case here, right? Like you basically get an introduction to what's expected of you as your job throughout the throughout the rest of the game. But like that format of dungeons is started right at like what, level 10, level 15. You never deviate from it. You could go into, I guess, Palace of the Dead. That's just a single alternative. But this is an MMO.
What's the difference between the Drowned City of Scala, which is the next dungeon we're getting, and Sestasha Normal? The number of abilities you have.
Looks.
Yeah. How much damage you're putting out, how much HP the mobs have. That's about it. Yeah.
Whether or not you have AoE?
No, there's actually no difference.
And again, going back to Dynamis, Square Enix didn't give a fuck that you were going like when it was first put into FF11. Square Enix didn't give a fuck that you were going in underleveled, undergeared, and that there was no way that you would be able to get to the other side of it. They were like, fuck it, die then. Die.
Go die.
Die and start working on your AFV2. We don't give a shit. It wasn't. Square Enix didn't take it personally if their fucking community couldn't figure out a fight. Fucking AV. Absolute Virtue was like the perfect example of that. Square Enix couldn't give a. They couldn't give a fuck.
Want you to figure that out.
They just
they didn't want you to because as soon as they patched something and someone figured it out, they patched AV again so you couldn't clear.
They got sick of answering questions about it. To be honest with you, I just. It is consistently shocking that this is the same company. That put out FF11 that put out FF14. Anyway, Captain, thank you so much for the call. We appreciate it.
And I'd like to also now, since we're with the call there, talk to in the chats here. Espada Oscuro says, "Look, just my opinion, but I think." Oscar, yeah, Espada Oscuro, that's his name. Just my opinion.
Is he like the Irish Skuro?
Oh, I'm a little douchebag, you know.
He goes, times have changed.
Don't be touching my lucky nads, me matey. I don't know why that flipped into pirate there. But
right, matey at the end?
Yeah, my lucky nads. Because, I don't know, Skuro is always connected to testicles.
Yeah,
somehow?
Who knows? But he says the player base that wants that kind of dedication is a minority, as their time is in more demand and there is less time for the brutal hardcore end game of the past. And that is markedly not true, because Final Fantasy is the only MMO that does this. If you look at, the end-all be-all king that is World of Warcraft, they've added an entire new mythic scaling difficulty to their frickin' MMO, which is still the biggest in the market. So how can you say that, nah, you know what, hardcore players are in the minority? Anyone? You want to play devil's advocate for him?
I wasn't paying attention. I was talking to Kookie.
No, not you know what, not particularly.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, is that maybe Square Enix's actions and the way that they developed their game has something to do with that. Maybe maybe there could have been a great hardcore player base.
Oh, SE seems to be reactive. The clear rates don't match the demand for hardcore endgame. Or it could just be that the reason people don't want to clear their endgame isn't because people are like, oh, I don't want that content. Because the content as it is terrible. If I go out and I shit into some buns and go, here you go, here's a burger for you, Juxta, and he doesn't eat it, oh, obviously people don't like burgers anymore. No, it's a shit burger, literally. That's why people don't want to clear the end game content.
See, I don't believe that. I think that the content as we have it.
No,
is
it's
fine.
true, Nika. I would not eat a shit burger. Thank you very much.
Okay, I believe
wow,
that.
the fat jokes are really going over the top. I am
have,
Spartacus.
God damn it. The content we have for what it is fine. But the thing is, not everybody likes that kind of content. Back to my argument from the beginning. If you didn't like the one type of endgame content all the hardcore people did, you could find a different kind of endgame content. Like Ground Kings to Sky to Dynamis to Nigel Io, they were very different, but they all gave you endgame stuff to progress your character. So if you didn't want to be that hardcore, you could find a different style of endgame that still suited your style of play.
But they all had
one style of endgame, and as fun as it might be, it's either you're not going to do it every day of the week, or you just don't like it, and so you need to find other content to either satiate your need for sate your need for endgame content in another way, or if you already love the endgame content and play it like I do twice a week, what content do I have for the other 3 days of the week? There should be something that's different to do.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. You've been harping on that point, and we all agree with you. That's a great point.
But it doesn't mean that the current content is shit, and that's why people aren't clearing it.
Right. But this is my question to you, okay? Because Oscuro here seems to be saying that since people aren't clearing it, it's because they don't want challenging content. Do you think that that's true, or do you think that people just aren't engaged in this content?
That's exactly what it is. People are either not engaged in this content because it's just not their style of endgame, or it's the only type of endgame we've gotten for 3 expansions now, and people are bored. We want something new. We want something different, and they are not providing that. And so people have checked out of raiding because it's the same old. Like the people I've been arguing with in the chat are like, but the fights are different. The mechanics are different. Yeah, okay, sure. And that's why we argued that, that freaking Gordius was horrible and Midas and Creator got better mechanics-wise. Sure. But again, it's just a fucking circle or square arena with a boss and 8 players, and it's the same thing. Like, I'm totally fine with them keeping this as one form of endgame content, but now we need something else.
Build on top of it.
Yes, please.
Add something more.
Something else. Something for me to do the other days of the week that's different.
Diadem 3.0? Eh?
God. Well, I'm hoping. I don't know. The interviews we've gotten about Eureka are not promising. But
No.
It's fucking ridiculous how much they enjoy reusing content that they haven't just tried to retool the 24-man raids as ultimate versions of it.
Because it's
give it time, because in those interviews talking about Bahamut, the unending ultimate Bahamut, they mentioned how Yoshi wanted it to be Ultimate Titan, and he said, and you know what? This isn't even related to like raid content we've had. You could see an Ultimate Crystal Tower at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
make that 8-man or 4-man content, and I'll be down. But if you're making it or if it's 24-man, it cannot be through the Duty Finder. It can only be through your free company. Fine, make it actually hard. I would honestly be okay with that if it gave me a reason to care about my free company. If it gave me a reason to bond with my free company and progress with a big amount of people that could not be steamrolled through Duty Finder. I would, honest to God, at this point, I'm so desperate for content, I will take Rehashed Crystal Tower if it meant it was real progressive content.
Totally. Dude,
please.
And that's the thing is that, but no, that's never what we get. That's what this game has needed for I don't even know how long, but that's
4 years.
It's never what we get. At least 3.0. Yeah.
3.0 is when it should have started.
And I don't understand how there are so many people that are falling all over themselves to apologize for this kind of behavior, or to excuse it, or to say that it's okay, or that there's so much to do. We have objectively told you again and again how someone can look at what FF14 presents and go, nah. Because we've been there. We've already done it. I do not understand how this doesn't connect with people. How they still want to be reflexive and defensive and try to rush to the defense of a multi-billion-dollar company that just seems like it doesn't care about their product and it doesn't care about their customers.
I mean, I understand it because for people that have been Square Enix fans and Final Fantasy fans, I mean, as long as all of us have, I understand the need to feel like your company can never let you down. But the thing is, you have to stop for a second and realize that they kind of are. Like, I understand the need to not have that happen.
Yeah.
But it's happening. And I feel like for some reason, there's some kind of blockage that's happening to prevent these people from seeing that your perfect company isn't so perfect.
It's because they're still having fun because they've only been playing for 1 year or under a year.
I don't know. Hexates or whatever his name was earlier
had more playtime than me. I've never seen anyone with more playtime than me. Kudos.
Could you imagine someone
clearly more brain damage than Nika
with less of a life than Nika? Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
I mean,
to be fair, I actually do have a life. Remember, that's why Blue Carter was so upset with me.
That's right.
I have a life, so I can't play this game 7 days a week. I can't clear the hardest content on the first day of the expansion.
Oh my god, I just had an idea. So Nika, you raid Tuesdays and Thursdays. You need something to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Help with LBR.
Oh!
Zing!
Look at that.
Got him!
Okay, but how does that solve my need for endgame content in 14?
Because hopefully through the conversations that we conduct on the show, we can educate people and vicariously Square Enix.
If we haven't educated people by now, they are just plugging their ears and screaming la la la, which is exactly what we can tell that they're doing.
Yeah,
we have been beating a dead horse since fucking 3.1, and I feel like I've had the most optimism out of everyone. It's really just then Stormblood that I've been like, yeah, I really am enjoying the game, but that's just because I like leveling everything. Once I get everything to 70, I'm never gonna log on this game. Like, I'm just not, except for Tuesdays and Thursdays. I just don't know, like, with how much of a hardcore Square Enix fangirl I am, I'm still here arguing that I love 15 despite its flaws. I love the things that Square Enix does give despite their flaws, but at this point in 14, I am fucking scared and I am sad. And I feel like if I'm at this point, how the fuck is anyone else not also at this point? Because I consider myself a pretty hardcore fangirl. So I don't get it. Why anyone is still plugging their ears.
Nika, we have tried so hard in the course of the show to like make Nika show up one day and she's got the black lipstick and like she went to Hot Topic and now she's a goth, right? Because she hates everything.
It's Nika from Earth 2.
She is very unflappable.
I am such an optimistic person.
She is unflappable
and unfappable
all the time. I do love 14 despite the shit that's wrong with it. That's why I'm fucking still a part of this show, so that I can voice how much, like, what we need to make this game great for everyone. And here I am still paying my fucking sub, playing this game, rating in this content, even though I'm bored as fuck with it, just because I love Final Fantasy. And I don't even fucking know where I'm going with this, because I just love Square Enix and Final Fantasy so fucking much that I fucking deserve a good game. And I'm so pissed off that my optimism is waning, because that's not who I am. And I'm really sad.
Yes. Feel the hate flow through you.
No.
Do it.
Do it.
This is where we're at, guys. This is where we're at.
Even Nika has fallen.
After we destroy Nika, where do we have?
and the thing is,
oh my gosh, guys, shh, Nika, don't listen. After we destroy Nika, let's just do a heel turn and love 14, and she'll be the only dissenter.
Oh, brilliant!
I would not be able to hit
Nika, you didn't hear that. Shut up.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Stupid idiot.
Anyway, So, look, it's pretty grim when the biggest optimist on this show is trying so hard to find the positivity in patch notes.
I've always been like that, and now I'm actually at a point where I'm like, I'm reading these patch notes, and there's nothing exciting. The most exciting things aren't even coming until a later patch. They've all been delayed. What am I playing this game for?
Tachyon
says it's like Leslie Knope says losing faith in the government.
Yeah, it's a little bit what it's like. Anyway, but
live in the now.
Yeah, Nika holds up well against our cynicism, and I think that you know what, that should be alarming to anyone who's a fan of this game. That, you know, if Nika can't even dig out the positives, you know, I don't know.
Problem.
Yeah, like, I don't know how you expected us to. Like I've gone around with people so many times about like, oh, well, your show sucks and all you do is dump on the game, and it's like, well, what do you expect from us? Do you want us to come out and tell you what we honestly think of the changes, or would you like us to come out and stroke Square Enix? Because if you want us to stroke Square Enix, fucking go watch Duty Commenced, okay? Go watch a thing that's actually produced by Square Enix people, because it's becoming more and more and more difficult to find people, to even find, people to interview to come on the show that are that enthused about FF14. we used to bring on people like Joe and talk about PvP. We can't even have those conversations anymore because guess who doesn't give a fuck about this game anymore? I'm not calling out Joe specifically. I'm just saying, like, all
other FF podcasts have called it quits, haven't they?
I mean,
and streamers, people that made their start, not just Joe, not just Happy, but who've made their start by doing this game, don't play this game as regularly anymore either.
Yep.
Like they used to be, I am a hardcore, regular, everyday 14 streamer. Now what? Maybe
when you set your category on Twitch, it'll tell you how many people are engaged with that community now. When Kahlo and I streamed FF14 the other night, you know how many people were in there? 749.
Oof.
That hurts.
But don't worry. Resident Nazi sympathist Zamfire says there's one good thing about stuff being delayed. It's 4.2 is going to feel packed as fuck with content.
Compared to this.
Oh, honey, if you think that they're going to just put all this stuff in 4.2 and not push it back to 4.3, 4.4, 4.5, 5, 5, 5, 6, 1. Oh, honey.
Yep. We will get the next Delta raid on 4.2. Eureka will be 4.25, and something else that was promised in 4.2 will be pushed to 4.3.
I'm still waiting for that deep dungeon.
I'm willing to bet that they're not even gonna put out an expansion.
I don't know.
I'm willing to bet.
We're going to Golem for 5.0. I think they'll stick with that.
Okay, that's fine.
But after 5.0, I don't know.
That's fine. I fully expect to get patch 4.6, 4.7, 4.8.
What would they put in those?
Bullshit. Bullshit.
They're not going to keep going with raids, that's for sure.
Bullshit. That's what they'll put in there. It will be bullshit.
No, there's no way they're going to go 4.6, 4.7. You know why? Because that clearly contradicts the five patch cycle they have.
Yeah, it'll be
just end the game.
They are too formulaic. I think they're too formulaic because if they got that far, they'd have to have an extra 24-man and an extra 8-man raid that they have not planned out. And I just do not think
they've already started. They've already started talking about it.
If they do what Nate says, they're right. It's not going to be 0.6, 0.7. It's going to be 0.51, 0.55, 0.5A, 0.5B.
Why does 4.1 feel so fucking empty? It's because this shit is going to be stretched out for a longer period of time.
We're just gonna get a whole
We're gonna get more dungeons. This dungeon that we get hoovered out of this shit is gonna be, out of 4.1 is gonna be placed in 4.6.
See, I really have a lot of hope for whatever the next deep dungeon is, because when you look at it, people are still running Palace of the Dead for XP, and they still do it because they think it's fun. They still have the 101 floor plus as a challenge. So what they can do with whatever the new deep dungeon tower brick up to the sky thing that they've got, they easily could change it up so it's not just kill all the monsters for one objective, make it multiple objectives, make it much more like Nigel Isle was in 11, give us so many more things, and then actually at the end you get a reward that benefits your character in one way or another. That could be a 4-man challenging endgame content easily, and I guarantee you they're not going to do it.
Oh no, we already suggested that.
I was going to say, where the fuck does all this development time come from? Jesus.
I mean, remember when
they're going to make another deep dungeon. I don't think it's going to be that hard to change up the objectives and add relevant prizes at the end. Like, how much harder is that actually?
Nika, I totally agree with you. I don't think it'll be that hard because literally all they're changing are art assets. All they need to change are, what type of walls end up being generated, on specific floors, what kind of theme it's going to have, and then put the mobs in. Boom. That's pretty much it. I mean, you've got to program the kind of the dynamic nature, the procedurally generated nature of the floors, but that's about it. I think once you actually have the bare bones of the programming for that from the first Deep Dungeon, that's pretty much a copy and paste process.
I think they just have to change what opens the portal on each floor. Don't just make it kill X mobs, open portal. Like, give us like 5 objectives or more, 10 objectives, and add a prize at the end that we like.
But that's what I'm saying, dude. We're not getting Eureka until 4.2. If we're only going to 4.5, like, we're starting the relic in 4.2. What?
4.25.
But honestly, like, let's think about this. Like, if Square Enix says, okay, we can hold off on our players starting their relics until 4.2, I think that is significant evidence to say that, look, we might be holding with the 4.x patch cycle for longer than any of us are comfortable with.
Otherwise, because if you think back, hold on, because every main patch number, 4.1 or 3.1, 3.2, 3.4, 3.5, was a different stage. And if we're not starting till 4.2, are we only going to have 3 stages? 4.3, 4.5, 4, and 4.5?
Right.
3 stages of relic?
That doesn't make any sense in terms of like item level progression.
Right?
Yes.
Exactly. Unless you extend it out. Unless it's supposed to take longer. There's a longer time cycle to the way that eye level progression is going to work.
What if we don't get the next tier of Omega until 4.3?
But if we're going,
if that happened, I would cry.
But that's what I expect at this point. That's what I'm expecting at this point.
I don't think so, just because of their formula. It's 8-man, 24-man, 8-man, 24-man.
So they're going to. But this is the thing: is that that has been the formula. But they can slow it down as easily as they could have stepped it up or changed directions, like we've criticized them before. They can also slow it the fuck down too.
If they were to do this, they should have stepped up the production 2 months per patch. There's no way that you can take 4 to 5 months per patch and stretch your content out. What the fuck?
Dude, I fully expect not to get the next leg of Omega until 4.3, and then I just take the fucking thing all the way to 4.8. Why not? Why not? Why not? Hang on just a second. Does Square Enix have one single compelling reason not to do that? Can anyone please name one?
In one of the interviews, he says, Yoshida says he envisions himself staying on the FF14 project for 10 years. He says 10 years is what it would take to sort of do everything I want to do, with releasing an expansion every 2 years. That's the only evidence against it. He recently said that in one of the 2 interviews.
Okay.
I mean, I still feel like they'll stick to that.
But
I guess it's hard for me to say that with extreme positivity like I used to, though. Like, I feel like the majority of me feels like they're going to stick to it, but there's that part of me that's like, but maybe they won't.
Let the despair become part of you.
But that's
I am Spartacus.
But that's the real problem with Square Enix lying to its player base. That's the biggest problem. Yeah. We haven't even gotten into any of the interview specifics. God, you guys are already way ahead of us wanting to talk about specific issues, the free-to-play, other issues affecting FF14. So let's go back to our phone lines and talk to Viviana Tiorin of Hyperion. What's going on, Viviana?
Hey, what's up, man?
Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, I think I need to owe you guys an apology, because I was one of those people, kind of like Nika, where I wouldn't say an apologist for the game. I certainly wasn't that. I would certainly point out its flaws, but
you had a lot of optimism and hope, right?
Yeah, I was kind of like, especially with some of the patches coming through, I look at the patch notes and think, okay, well, this was kind of crappy, but let's not. I was like, we don't have all the information yet. It's not out yet, to see what comes through.
Yeah.
Yeah, just had a whole wait and see attitude, especially when it coming from 2.0 into 3.0, and now going into 4.0. Now that I have all the information, now I'm starting to see what you guys are talking about.
Viviana, we told you so.
I will fully. You told me so. I will fully accept that, because even just listening to some of you guys, it was so great, and it's like, oh my god, guys, just wait and see what happens. You don't know what the content is. Now that we know the previous content is, and seeing the exact repeat in 4.0, I'm like, you guys were right.
And that's you know what? I've said this before. I'm not sure if you've ever caught this comment, but I've never wanted to be right less in my life.
Y'all said that out loud. You do not want to be right. You just happen to be right.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. You know, the human brain picks up on patterns, and this is one of the biggest patterns that we all can see. And again, Viviana, and we appreciate you saying, like, you know, hey, I may owe you an apology. I understand people's reflexiveness to defend a game that they enjoy playing. I totally understand that. But this charge that you know, our critics will take, where we don't care about the game, or we're trying to do active damage to the game, or like that thread on Reddit that we're trying to encourage people to quit this game, that is patently false. That is patently untrue. Because if anything, we care so much about this game that we don't want to see it, you know, we don't want to see it have to go through the growing pains that it's going through right now. We don't want to see what free to play from Square Enix in 2017 for FF14 looks like, because you know what? It could work out for them. It could go very well. It could go the ESO route, and no one's really that upset about it. But there is as much of an opportunity for it to go belly up and for it to go bad and to go pay to win, like Archage or any of these other games that have done these, you know, these microtransed business models. There is so much more that you can fuck up in that process than you can get right. And I don't think that Square Enix has earned my trust in this department anymore.
Yeah, and talk about companies disappointing you. I was a Sega fanboy, and somewhat still am.
Boy,
Sega has been
you
disappointing
really,
me.
Yeah, you know the definition of disappointment, don't you?
Yeah, they have been disappointing me since 1997. When I had a Saturn, yes, I had a fucking Sega Saturn. I bought Shining Force 3. That game was great. At the end of that scenario, they say insert disc 2 to play scenario 2. Where's scenario 2? Where's the second disc? Only got one fucking disc. I paid 30 goddamn. No, I forget how much it was. I paid full fucking price for this game and got one disc out of a 3-disc set. Japan got all that shit. That was disappointment number one.
What? That is bullshit.
I'm a Phantasy Star fan. I like Phantasy Star more than I like Final Fantasy. Fantasy Star Online 2, not even out over here.
Yeah,
you know what?
Yeah. Again, you are well.
I know about disappointment.
Yeah, you are well acquainted with disappointment. It sounds like.
And was seeing this shit, I was like,
and that's the thing, is that, you know what, in instances like that, okay, you go, well, there are bigger forces at work than just, you know, I feel like I'm being lied to or something like that. You know, like there's more forces at work in the failure of something like a Sega Saturn than, or, you know, the failure of Sega as a company than there is necessarily here, because I think here we can see what fertile ground exists with FF14. We can see what kind of fertile ground exists with Eorzea. And the problem with it is that it feels like it's being wasted. Those opportunities are being wasted.
Yeah, and you just see the potential of where the game could go, but they're not even going that direction.
Exactly. And
just
so
being lazy.
And that I can't chalk it up to anything but being lazy, because they've been able to clearly pull this off before. They've been able to clearly add beneficial systems and things that are engaging and that are interesting. That's what got us into playing this game in the first fucking place. They have the ability to do it. It almost feels like a willful dismissal of, like, well, if you like that shit, well, here's some more of it. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like they're like, yeah, we don't really care if people find it boring, because there's infinite amounts of people that we can bring into this.
Well, not to mention,
put the logo on the Mrs. Freshly's wrapper. We're gonna get some fucking 60-year-old retiree who scoots around in a goddamn fucking what do you call it?
Wheelchair.
Well,
Migo.
No, that's a little mean.
Scooter.
A little Migo
thank
scooter.
you. Yeah, there you go. Or a fucking a Segway scooter or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, who's that shit marketed to?
Well,
again, we've asked all of these fucking questions, and people keep poo-pooing us for being critical. But, like, can we not admit that a lot of these decisions are pretty obvious and glaring missteps, that they're not paying off dividends. Again, we see the evidence when we log in every time we log in to FF14. You see the evidence in the amount of people that are either in your free company or in your link shell, on your server, whatever it is, and you can't compartmentalize that and go, oh, well, your server's just low pop, and so of course you wouldn't notice it. Like, fuck off.
I've had people tell me Balmung is starting to look.
That's my point. Like, dude, I know that he had to take off in between shows, but Scala is on fucking Balmung, and he even says that shit is lower than it has ever been. I refuse to believe this line of like, oh, well, that's just your experience, so that's just what like, fucking use your eyes. Like, stop lying to yourself.
Yeah.
And Hyperion's a legacy server. Same over here, too.
Yeah. It's bad. I think it's bad all over. Thanks for the call, Viviana. We appreciate it.
Sure, no problem, man.
Yeah, and it's nice. It's vindicating to be told that, hey, you guys might be right about something,
especially by someone who was against us.
Though. Yeah. That's the thing, is that and it sounds arrogant. I know it sounds arrogant to say this, but we knew that we were right on this. Like, we've done this already once with FF11, and it's alarming how much faster it's happening with FF14 than it happened with FF11.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that really always comes back to bite Yoshi was that FanFest, the whole, we're getting a bigger budget thing, right? And whatever, they spent it on advertising or whatnot. But if this game is indeed at the point in its population that it's the highest it has ever been, that means that it is making more money than it has ever made.
Right.
Why are we getting less shit?
Yeah. It's a great question.
Which I also don't believe that its population is high.
No, I don't either.
No. Concurrent? No. Are they at the point where they have had the most people who have bought the game? Well, sure, because every time someone buys it, it's going to fucking go up.
That number never goes down.
That's right.
It can never go down.
And the fact that they're comparing that number, which only goes up, to WoW's concurrent player base at its peak is so fucking laughable.
It is. That's not a marketing point. That's a goddamn punchline. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord if you'd like to join us on Discord. We're pretty much, we've got a half an hour left in the show. We'd love to be able to hear from you. We do have these couple of interviews to kind of parse out, but I sort of feel like, we've got a couple of people trying to call in right now. I kind of feel like, these discussions are so interesting, and hearing from you is so interesting that we could probably put a pin in this and revisit it at another time to just kind of get,
push it to like
the specifics.
4.2.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Episode 131.2. Yeah. We'll be back on Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, so let's go back to our phone lines and talk to Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins.
That's Jenkins with a A.
I was going to say wrong game, buddy.
Let me take that.
Jank.
So yeah, from Sergeant Tanis, Leroy, what's happening? Welcome to the Limit Break Radio.
Hey, what's up, LBR? I want to thank you guys for having me. First, I want to show you guys some love. I was first learned about you guys. There was a post on Reddit just absolutely bashing you guys.
Yes!
And that's what made me start.
There always is.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and that's what put you guys on my radar. I started listening to you guys, and I'm loving you guys' content, and I've been following you guys ever since. So
thanks.
Please keep doing what you're doing. There's a lot of people that love you guys and love what you're doing, so don't pay attention to the haters. That just means you're doing something right, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, but so what I want to ask you guys is Nika always brings up a really good point that I think a lot of people, can't argue with, that is that there's just not enough in-game content. But my question to you guys is, will adding more in-game content like there was in 11, will that really help the problem with in-game right now, or will it just put like a spotlight on the fact what I think is the underlying issue, which is the vertical progression? Because I played Final Fantasy 11 for a long time, for pretty much when I was in 6th grade to when I graduated high school, and I wanted to put it down when I went to college and kind of focus on real life for a little bit. But I got to experience all the end game, and I loved it. Every day there was something different to do. But with 14, when I first started playing it, it brought back a lot of feelings. From 11, there's a lot of new stuff to do. Not playing, I felt like I was missing out, and I just couldn't wait to get back to the game. But the first time I unsubbed in 11 was during Final Coil of Bahamut.
Okay.
And when it became really apparent to me what their progression was, as far as like their gear treadmill, and what they were doing with the 8-man raids and then the 24. But really, what got me was, when I was like, okay, they're just gonna keep invalidating all the work that I was doing, during the raids and stuff. So will adding more content really help the end game scene, or will it just shine a spotlight on the fact that there's just gonna be more content and more gear that we're working towards that's just gonna become useless, once they put out the next patch or the next iteration of the raids and stuff.
I love this. I love this question, Leroy, because I think that you raise a couple of good points and poke holes in some of the why can't they just do this sorts of stuff? And I think what you do bring up a really good point is that vertical progression and the way that that we're tried that Square Enix tries to encourage us to participate in things is very frustrating, especially when so much of our work is invalidated so quickly. And I think, first of all, Square Enix can start to insulate themselves from specifically that criticism by extending out the patches, and which is really what sort of makes me think that they're going to be taking this all the way to 2.8. But what's difficult about taking the approach that, look, we need to do vertical progression, we need to constantly be raising the level cap, and we constantly need to be, taking people and increasing their eye level meaningfully when they expect to be, is that you have now created a situation where players are really only chasing, at the pace that the developer is putting out content. And so what it would be difficult for Square Enix is, like on top of dungeons, on top of raids, they've now got to find a third way to output gear, a third method to output gear, and then make sure that all of those gear stats kind of work in conjunction with one another. It is a big undertaking. I'm not going to lie. This is not a small or minor portion of the game. It's probably actually the most important aspect of your game. But I think that you're absolutely right, Leroy, that when Square Enix decides to plan out their next grouping of content, that this is almost it feels like a fucking afterthought. And that's the part that drives me goddamn crazy and makes me feel like there's no purpose in doing anything. There's no reason to do raids because we're just going to get new tone gear that I'm going to have to grind out. And everyone's on the, you know what I mean? Like there's
exactly right.
Yeah, there's no real reason. And I totally get your point about vertical progression, but there is a way that you can do vertical progression well, and that's taking and designing systems that can be copied and pasted in the kind of broad stroke way that they're doing, and then continuing to add on top of that with more events, more ways to get relevant gear. If there was a wider pool of gear that was available, that and let's say that they didn't change their methodology of invalidating that a patch or two patches later, you would still feel like there is more to do on a daily basis because you have more options of what your goal is.
Well, the root of the problem here isn't just the vertical progression, because WoW is able to do it no problem. The root of the problem for Square Enix is this idea that new players or returning players have to be able to get caught up quickly. Because for all of us, the common thing that I hear is, well, the next patch, my gear's invalidated. Yeah. If your gear doesn't invalidate each patch, and instead each patch just makes you stronger, instead of each patch being where we look at our progression, now the expansion is our progression.
Right.
And when you come in, whether you're coming in fresh or you're coming in, a bit late, you have a long way to go, and that should be part of it. You should want to make that journey. If you come in and you look and you go, oh shit, I don't want to do this work, this game shouldn't be for you. So if they get rid of that one aspect there, that's where they can then start to really heal the game. And yes, then start to add more gear, start to add different systems. And in that way, they could also open up their patches a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're right, though. Like, I mean, I'm sitting here saying, give me more content to do every day of the week. They would have to change their viewpoint on the way they put gear for that to be possible. And I realize that, and that's, a big undertaking. Who knows? I mean, but they did say they had a bigger budget. Who knows what they're spending that on? But regardless, I feel like it's not impossible to have horizontal progression within the vertical progression. There is also nothing wrong with, so like, give us maybe one or two more endgame ways to give us horizontal progression for this level.
Yes.
Then give us something that takes a really long grind, sure, and lets us have upgradable materia melding gear. Have that could be another horizontal, and then give us one more, like Anira was saying, that actually gives us an end tier eye level that's super, 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 super rare. So that way there's at least like 5 different outputs of gear that's relevant, and one that's like super, super powerful you're always going to be working for, and just build off of that every time.
And why would people like so religiously show up to Sky, right? Because it wasn't a foregone conclusion that the piece of gear that you're going after is going to drop. And even if it did drop, there was competition inside of your link shell of who was going to be able to get it. That's why they went so, groups would go so far out of their way as to, have DKP charts and stuff like that.
That was horrible, though.
I'm not saying that FF11 was perfect, but in terms of incentivizing or making me want the gear or figuring out what my goals were or what I wanted out of the game, that made it much more clear to me as a player, right? Like it wasn't the developer holding my hand and telling me, okay, here's where you go if you want your next eye level thing. It was like, okay, there's all of this different gear spread out amongst different sections of this game. What do I want to get, and how do I need to get it? And what Square Enix has done is they've taken the certainty or uncertainty rather that there would be a piece of gear that you get out of doing this, and they've put a certain degree of certainty to it. So now you can assure that your loot pool is going to have 2 pieces of loot every single time you do a raid. You can also assure that you're going to be accruing points to be able to get that item, and
you're also ensured that all the items are roughly equal to each other because of item level. Like in Final Fantasy XI, there was gear that dropped off of bosses that you would never, ever, ever use over something like a vendor item.
Exactly. Some
gear has to be shitty.
Yes, that's exactly it. It's like none of the gear that we have in here is an actively bad choice, and you can make stats like that on your gear. Like, while we keep saying we need more gear choices, it's not like we need better and better and better gear. We just need fucking more. We need more of it, and it's got to come out of a variety of different places. Now, again...
Yeah, really fast.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you, but really fast, how I kind of look at their progression, right, is like the equivalent of you're working a job and your boss is telling you, look, man, if you work hard, we're going to give you a promotion, and we're going to give you a promotion, and then you bust your butt, you finally get a promotion, they finally give you the promotion, but you find out it's the exact same position with the new title, and you don't even get like a raise or anything.
You get a big raise, then they raise minimum wage.
You keep working hard, we'll give you another promotion, and then it's the same thing. They're just giving you a different title, but nothing really changes. And once I learned that during Final Coil, I'm like, man, I was actually the leader of my static. Like, I'm like, organizing and all this stuff. I'm like, man, I'm working hard, putting in all this time, and I feel like it was for nothing. And that was really the slap. It felt like a slap in my face. And I kept giving them a chance. Every time there was an expansion, Heaven's Ward, Stormblood, I would resub, try out the new raid, try all the new content, but it kept giving me that same feeling like I'm doing this for nothing. Like, I don't feel any accomplishment, because I know, like, once I get that gear, it's going to be invalidated. And it's not even really the fact that there's not enough stuff to do, or the content is bad, because I think the raids are pretty good, and I enjoy raiding. But like, once I learned that they're going to just invalidate the gear and make it worthless, I couldn't unlearn that.
Right.
And so I felt I lost my will to just keep grinding and keep putting in those hours, to get it.
Yeah. And the thing is there's nothing wrong with systems that give you tokens that after you get 10 of them, you can get a piece of of gear, right? Like, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with systems like that. But the thing is that there's got, like, those have to be kind of considered your participation trophies, right? Like, it's a foregone conclusion if you know that each time there's going to be 2 pieces of loot that drop, and you're going to be accruing fucking points to be able to spend on that same tier of loot. That's why I keep saying that there, and Nika had brought this up a second ago, that in fights like that, especially because they are so difficult, they are so challenging, they take weeks or months to be able to learn, that there's got to be an added incentive for once people have done them to go back and do them again. And unless you have something that is really compelling that you're putting in there, not a fucking mount, not a fucking, you know, a minion, not stupid bullshit like that, that is really going to motivate people. And I feel like Square Enix doesn't even fucking care. They're like, we don't need to motivate people. People will still log in and recreate the fucking opera scene from FF6. Like, they don't give a shit. Like, actively, if I could get anything out of Square Enix here, can you please just care? Can you please just give a shit? And also, maybe stop lying to us. Maybe stop lying directly to our face. Stop trying to massage your numbers to make yourself look good. Stop trying to tell us that people are logging in when they're not. Come out and say that there's a problem. You at least had the presence of mind to do that in 1.0. And the thing is that you had the exact same fucking problem. People were logging in and they could see with their fucking eyeballs that the game is not as good as you're trying to sell them on. That's the problem.
No, I agree. I agree.
And Square Enix I feel like they're just content to do nothing about it. They're like,
you know what gets me is there's lots of content, right? It's not even like there's not enough content. There's a ton of content. The issue is that it's all pointless. Like, once they, you know, come out with the new patch, it's like there's no reason to really go back and revisit it, you know, unless it's like part of a roulette or something. I don't understand why they don't just build upon their content instead of just saying, okay, it's useless now. You know, go do the new content, which is essentially the same thing, just reskinned.
Exactly,
and that really boggles my mind.
And that was at the heart of the concern when we were talking about, you know, well, where do we go from Binding Coil of Bahamut? You know, back when we were considering what the next phase of endgame content might look like for Alexander, I don't think that anyone. You know, that anyone could have been like, oh, well, they're just going to do the exact same fucking thing again. You know what I mean? Like, it just, that seems so foreign in terms of MMO development. And if you're going to do that, you know, like, it shouldn't take you 3 fucking years to put all of those goddamn instances into a roulette, because you know that roulettes are the only thing that get people to do shit like that. And they keep trying to change it up. They keep trying to do fucking Zloey's Whorehouse or whatever the fuck it is. And it just, the shit clearly does not work. Wondrous Tales does not work. Okay, so you know, Square Enix, I think if they were transparent like they were during, you know, 1.0 and coming out and saying, all right, listen, we hear you guys, Lords of Verminion was fucking awful, and we can admit that. Like, if they can't even admit their failures, and I think that is just as frustrating.
That the first Diadem was bad, though.
Okay, that's it. But like with the Lords of Verminion thing, they'd be like, look, maybe Lords of Verminion isn't utilized as much as we would hope, but it has a very small and dedicated following.
Yeah, they don't consider Lords of Verminion a failure because they did exactly what they wanted them to do.
Which was?
Be a dumb minigame.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
but that no one played, though.
I mean, that's on the players, apparently.
Well, but I mean, like, again, in an MMO, your traffic is sort of everything. That's paramount. Like, if your players aren't doing it, then why bother programming it? That was a waste.
As an option, as a minigame option for casual players, and it fulfills that role. It is an option.
But again, it came out. Nobody did it, and then they just were like, "Yeah, that was cool, wasn't it?" Like,
they've got to admit, log to it.
And again, like, yes, the Diadem, like, saying like, we kind of missed the mark on Diadem. That was a little bit refreshing, and it's little hints like that, you know, like Viviana had called in and said, that make me want to give them the benefit of the doubt.
It just tickles the balls a little bit.
Exactly.
But then they just mess it up and throw away all that, you know, goodwill that we gave them with Diadem 2.0. Remember that one?
Let me ask you guys a question.
Yes.
let me ask you guys a question, because I think all of you guys played 11, and I played 11 too, pretty hardcore in the in-game scene. So do you think the fact that we played 11 and saw how they did in-game pretty well, I wouldn't say all of it was done really well, but for the most part, I think that they were pretty successful in how they implemented. I think they were pretty successful how they implemented multiple levels of in-game that could keep you occupied. And I know I tend to look at 11 through rose-tinted glasses.
Sure.
You know, because it was like the first MMO I played really religiously.
We never asked for
but do you think the fact that we played 11 and got a taste of that in-game and the horizontal progression just ruined it for us?
Travel the world, and battle adventurers with minions. That's what we asked for.
Sorry, we got a donation that was talking.
We got a paragraph.
Yeah, like somebody decided to.
I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, that was our donation notification. Somebody, Foos Rodage saying that we never asked for Lords of Verminion, which was League of Legends with minions. We asked for Pokemon with minions, travel the world and battle adventurers.
That's true. If we had that, I guarantee you more people would be playing that.
And it was StarCraft with minions, not League of Legends. League of Legends was based off of StarCraft, but there's a distinction because you have multiple little units that you command.
Hey, so I have an idea. Let's answer his amazing question.
Because Leroy did have a great question in there.
I do think that is possible. I mean, I've been comparing it. Like, I think 11 is trash now, absolutely. Like, I went back and played the last expansion, and I was like shitting on the game every second that I was playing it. Like, there's so much wrong with it. There was so much wrong with it, but there was, and 14 has done a great job improving on the things that FF11 did wrong.
Yes.
So my issue now is, why is it not keeping the aspects of 11 that it did right, like having varied multiple types of endgame content? Granted, I think that was probably highly possible because it had more horizontal progression, but I don't think that it is impossible to implement in a vertical progression system. They just have to use their brains and think about it.
They just have to work more.
Either they don't want to, or they don't have the manpower. Have them work more. I'm not sure what it is, but I do think it is probably tinting my view a little bit. I am curious about the people that are sitting here touting about how there's still so much to do and that the end game is fine. I'm wondering how many of them this is their first MMO. Like, it is quite possible.
You know what? That's a good question. Great question, because I'm going to echo Nika's sentiments, but not because of FF11. Mine is because what I've seen in World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And a single expansion, when you get 30 to 40 bosses across a bunch of different raids, and then in FF11 you get 12 bosses? 12 bosses?
You mean 14.
You mean 14.
Sorry, in 14 you get 12 bosses, but you know,
a 2-year cycle.
But the raid that they just released in a single patch gives you 14?
Yeah.
That, to me, is absolutely incomprehensible. How square-enix how he can go to BlizzCon. So he's watching. They're watching what Blizzard does.
Yeah, we know he's there.
Okay?
He's spotted every time he's at BlizzCon.
That's right. So the way that he can look at Legion and go, oh, a raid with 14 bosses in it. We're about to release 4.
Yeah.
Baffles me.
And a trial or two.
I would say I don't think it's necessarily, Leroy, that it's because we're bringing context from FF11. I think it's because we have context with any other MMO's endgame.
Period.
Yes, because I think, if because I played a lot of Ultima Online. I, of course, played a lot of FF11. I played EQ. And when you see elements that were executed so cleverly, and these games are 10, 12, 15 years old, you go, well, what fucking happened? How did everything become so formulaic? I mean, in a lot of ways, I think I sit around and ask I ask that same question about a lot of AAA games, because it's like, quest variety, not much. You pick up a quest, it takes you to a place, and then you either go to another place or you come back. Like, there's not much that you can work with, but when a game does it very cleverly, you go, oh shit, that's a new way. I've not experienced that before. And to Nika's point, I feel like I had gotten so much of that in FF11, where I was like, oh, like even...
Here's to the LBR WoW subscription fund. Hashtag fuck you, Square.
Thanks, Strife. That's
$10.
Thanks, that's funny. Thank you. Appreciate it. But I think that there's definitely a real difference in playing. Almost.
Oh wow.
Come on, guys, give the dev team a break. They are overworked trying to make peaches and bunny suits for guys.
Yeah, they're making your bunny suit, Juxta.
No, they're not. They're just saying they're making a bunny suit and then
never delivering.
AKA another fucking lie.
But again,
Tiffany Liz in the chat.
It's less about Square Enix being able to make a good game anymore. But and I think again to speak to Nika's point, how did they unlearn these things that they did so well in FF11? Like, how are none of those ideas or core concepts even being considered or applied here? Like, you can't even find a ghost of some of the shit that existed in FF11. And I think that's the thing that bothers me, is that this does not have to be paint by numbers. This does not have to be a paint by numbers theme park MMO. And aesthetically it can be whatever, but fucking in terms of content, it could be so much more. And yes, that is more work for the dev team, and I understand that. I get that. But
if I could,
but haven't we been, but I was just gonna say, but haven't we been shelling out every single month to be able to make sure that this game runs and is funded and runs properly? Like, I don't understand how we can see such a slide in quality to the point where now people are like, well, yeah, I don't see the value in the $12 a month. Rewind the clock 2 fucking years ago, even just after Heavensward was released, you would be hard pressed, because we tried to find these people. You would be hard pressed to say that Square Enix and FF14 would be better off with a free-to-play model back in, going from 2.0 to 3.0 than you would now. Like, people are saying it left and right. Like, this is a huge fucking problem that just, whatever. It's not.
Except it's not the case, though, because if this game was free to play, we would never get content that we want, because nobody would be paying as much as we're paying now.
Exactly.
Even with the micromanagement transactions, no one's going to be paying $13 a month. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but again, if you hide a bunch of big features behind paywalls that people would be forced to buy through, or they can just pay the subscription and have the full game, that's a way to do that. And they could do that. That's a bit. And again, this is business. This is not fucking personal. This is a video game. They have to make money off of this.
We're not getting to the interviews, obviously, but he did say something like 80 to 90% of people would have to be screaming for it for him to do that, and that's never going to happen.
No. First of all, that's never going to happen. Second of all,
also it's probably a lie.
Yes. Second of all, it's total bullshit, because they won't need between 70 or 80%. Exactly. They had crushed that lie when they had said, well, we probably wouldn't even consider it till 5.0. Nope, 4.0, bitches, suck my dick. And we knew when he started talking about it, that was going to be the case. We said it. We said it as much on the show.
Yep. And remember,
what did you guys do? No, fuck no. That's never going to happen.
The sky is falling.
Yeah. And remember, they slid it in 2 after FanFest on a Monday.
After all the FanFests.
Yeah, after all the FanFests on a Monday, when everyone had a week to absorb it before we could get around to it.
There are so many people that are just going, look, if FF14 goes free to play, I quit. And I don't blame you guys. Tanya, I say I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. I don't think that, after paying so much into, there was a time where I felt proud about paying my subscription. I was like, I really do feel like I'm paying for the quality that I'm getting. I would much rather do this. I would much rather pay $12 a month or $14 a month than, engage in microtransactions, because every time I buy a loot box or every time I buy, something from the fucking cash shop, I feel like I don't feel great about it. I feel like it's fun, like I'm participating in something that I know very academically or that I'm very conscious of is a bad thing that ends up just giving more money to people who have more money than they know what to fucking do with, and it doesn't change anything. It doesn't actually end up changing anything. And for a while I thought a subscription price would keep the quality high. At least that was the selling point. And no, clearly Square Enix is content to let it drop off to the point where people are so unsatisfied that they go, I'd rather have this free to play than I would charge a monthly fee. And isn't that worse? Like, isn't that to let a problem go that long? Isn't that fucking worse? Like, isn't that I don't know. I think that's fucking worse, like, than just going like, we've made a decision and we're going to do it. Like, they're like actively shitting all over their game content-wise to like make people be like, yeah, I'd rather do free-to-play than this bullshit. Am I crazy?
If I can make one more point, too.
All right, last point. Yeah, last point.
Can I offer some insight? Could I offer some insight as to why you guys kind of have like a polarized community and a lot of people hate on you guys?
Sure.
The reason so many people hate on you guys is because your arguments make too much sense.
Yeah.
And people hate logic. You know, if you guys want to get more people on your side, all right, stop using so much logic, guys.
Yeah, start placating their egos and telling them that everything is okay and that all of the things that make them happy are going to continue to be there when, all evidence says that no, if you keep fucking this up, that, Square Enix will change things on a dime. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about upholding their promises more than any other company. Fuck that. I don't know.
No,
the same people that don't like this show are the same people that don't believe that global warming is real. All right, it's the same demographic.
I appreciate that, man. Leroy, it's been fun talking to you. First time caller, Leroy Jenkins of Sergeant Tannis. Make sure if you're not in the free company or link, shall make sure that you
know, man.
Seriously,
favorite caller of all time. Honestly, every single question he had was so refreshing, insightful, and new.
Yes, exactly. Leroy, thank you very much. Thank you so much for calling.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me. Much love.
Yeah. Much love. All right. One more call, and then we got to get out of here. We're already 1 minute past 7 o'clock. It's hotter than hell in here. And we've had one more person that's been kind of hanging on the line a while that we want to get to before we get out of here. But we do appreciate all of your calls today. It's been interesting to talk to you. And of course, we knew, when something like this goes down, we always get a lot of callers. We always get a lot of people reacting to it because when people are dissatisfied, they tend to be a little bit more vocal about the thing that they're dissatisfied about. And I can totally understand why people would be completely dissatisfied or pissed off at the idea that FF14, after 4 or 5 years of supporting it month after month, could possibly even entertain an idea like going free to play. Let's go back to our phone lines one more time, the last time in this episode. And talk to Piggy McSquee. What's up, Piggy?
Piggy? What's up, guys? How's it going?
Good. Thanks for calling Limit Break Radio. What's happening?
You really like bringing up the rear of the show, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you got, I'm the main attraction.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so close us out here.
Gay!
So close us out here. What do you got to say about the patch 4.1 preliminary notes or any of the interviews that Yoshi P has been given?
Oh, God, those patch notes make me want to vomit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 1%. Let's talk about those machinist buffs. 1% to hypercharge. Can we get a golf clap? Can we get a golf clap for that one?
Is that gonna fix you?
Wow.
Yeah, that'll work.
There you go. There you go. You could get a sad Skuro fap, because I'm sure that
works too.
Yeah, no, you don't want that though.
No,
nobody wants that.
Wait, is that regular edition Skuro? Or is that Espada o Skuro?
Irish Skuro.
Oh, me lucky nerds! All right.
But one thing I wanted to bring up was I've been playing the game since like practically when World of Darkness first came out. That's when I first started playing the game.
Okay. Yeah.
And I played all the way up to like Heaven's Sword, and I got to level 58, and I got burned out. Like I needed to take a break.
Ooh, before even hitting cap.
Damn.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, I mean, like playing it like day in day out, like going hard.
If only you had a jump potion.
Oh, I know, right? You could just skip past all of that content.
And
to finish the game.
I took a break and I came back when Void Art came out, and that was a lot of, again, like a decent sized amount of content to go through again. And then I disappeared again.
Yeah.
And then came back months later for, again, another 24-man. I just love doing 24-mans, apparently.
Well, that's your jam.
Yeah, that's my stuff.
Well, there you
go.
go.
Like, the fact that I have to take long breaks in between to get a decent amount of content to enjoy myself is kind of pathetic.
Yeah, I agree. And chances are that span of time is going to just continue to get longer. I mean, at some point, Square Enix has to slow down the eye level progression. You know what I mean? Like at some point, they if they're still throwing themselves up on that cross and claiming to be a fucking victim and oh, we're working so hard and putting out this shit, like of course this fucking slide is going to keep continuing.
If they slow down the item level progression, then they have to add more content.
That's what I'm saying. They have to add more patches.
Already slowing it down. 4.1 isn't going to see an increase in item level.
Exactly. So
yeah, it's really weird. Like I have a real life friend who actually quit for a year and came back at Stormblood, a whole year, and he was complaining to me that he came back, rejoined his same group he was with before, quickly outgeared the people that have been playing nonstop, and is now actually farther than me in 04 progression. And he quit for an entire year.
How does that make you feel, Nika?
I mean, it makes him feel bad, and it makes me feel bad. I just feel like how is it that I can be so devoted and so willing to throw my money at Square Enix's fucking face and kiss their ass so hard, and yet I get nothing, and the returning player's like, nope, we've got to just try to get new people.
There's no
so bad, Nika.
There's no actual value to playing month in, month out. You can save money.
Squall outfit.
Not anymore.
That's your value.
Not anymore.
I mean,
not anymore.
We had that.
Nope. You could get the exact same satisfaction as a endgame hardcore raiding player by just playing for a few months and then unsubbing till the next expansion.
But
I mean, that's what it honestly like. Because I don't really give two shits about the 24-man. I've already got my main, like my two main jobs are already past the 24-man content. So honestly, once I beat 04, I should just unsub until the next raid patch comes
until
out,
probably 4.3.
Yeah, there's no point.
Okay, but to be fair, you're probably not going to beat 04S until the start of the next raid cycle. So.
Imagine if the 24-man raid gave out the same eye-level gear as the 8-man's did.
Well, considering that you get the upgrade item for your tome gear, it kind of is.
Kind of does.
Yeah,
you're not far off.
Yeah, this patch is so that all the casuals can catch up to Nika.
That's right.
Nika, this is the patch that invalidates you.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, we're all saying how our gear gets invalidated after 6 months, but really, once everybody has the same gear as you after 3 months, it really you're
well, but you have a weapon that's slightly better.
Oh, but you have a whole fight where you fight against all of the big baddies from the first real good expansion.
Honestly, I'm hoping that that's fun. Really, honest to God, hope that that's fun.
It's one fight.
When I get there,
it better be fucking fun. It better that fight better suck my fucking balls.
That fight, I think, is going to
kind of fun.
I think it's going to break statics because they talk about some of the interviews. Super long. There is no like checkpoint or like halfway point. If you can't beat it from start to finish, you don't beat it.
Well, that's good. And I honestly don't think this will break statics because it's meant to be that ultimate challenge. Like, there's going to be such a small percent of people that actually do it. But the thing is that Square Enix thinks, oh, look, we're catering to the 1%. We don't have to do anymore. When honestly, that's not the case.
Yeah, but isn't this shit DOA because of the eye level of the weapon that it's going to end up giving out?
No, because it has more
oh, yeah, that's
slots. Right. It's definitely going to be better than the raid weapon, and it's going to be worth doing.
Same exact stats as the raid weapon. It's just that it adds one more materia slot. Yeah.
That's... to be honest,
good.
I mean,
a materia slot is worth doing. Like
it is critical.
The materia 6s are 40 points. Like that's a lot.
Yeah, no. And we had said that was actually a solution that we had never even considered, and really smart. Like again, it's little shit like that makes us go, oh, maybe Square Enix does kind of know, and then they follow it up with this shit.
Well,
and
remember, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
I don't know.
No, it is.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Except if the timing is totally off, right? Like if the second hand is running too quickly, right? Like it's never right. If it's dead.
Okay.
A dead clock is right twice a day.
Or if you just
a broken clock can be wrong all the fucking time.
That's fair.
A broken clock doesn't even turn on. How are you gonna see the numbers, idiot?
Oh, wow. Okay. My issue, though, is that even if this fight is super fucking fun and it's so amazing and I love doing it, it doesn't solve the fact that this is still a boss in a room with the same 8 people I was doing the last thing with and doesn't let me play any other job and it doesn't give me anything else to do on the other days of the week. Like, it's still, I have to stick to my same raid schedule, the same time that fits for the other 7 people in my raid, and it just doesn't matter. So as fun as it's going to be, it's not a solution to our lack of endgame challenging content, which Square Enix seems to think giving us one super hard boss that only like 10 people on each server are going to clear, like, is going to solve our problems, and that's that's not the case.
I don't know. I'm tired of the excuses from Square Enix at this point. I'm just tired of it. Like,
I want Ashes of Creation.
Oh, God, stop.
You're going to put way too much expectation behind that, and it's never
you know, that game is as much hype as you're putting into it. It's going to bomb.
All it has to do is be better than FF14.
No, because a stupid flaming turd made from Scuro is better than 14.
Youch.
Well, but I mean, again, being better than 14 is not. I don't. That's not the right bar to set. Like you want to be a great MMO.
Yeah, and you also want to be I'm Spartacus. So if you have to get above that bar.
That's the name of the episode, by the way.
I'm Spartacus?
Yep.
I know it is.
Okay.
Thanks for saying it on the show.
I already knew that. Piggy, man, thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Appreciation.
All right.
Question mark?
Yeah.
Question.
Nailed it!
Yeah, all right.
He's like, are you sure you don't want to roast me before I go?
Take it easy, Piggy. Thanks for giving us a call.
Later, Pigster.
We appreciate it. This has been good discussion, man. I'm again. It's hot in here.
Oh man.
I did not think that this was going to be necessarily. I mean, like I had a kind of inkling that it might go this way, but I'm genuinely surprised by how many productive callers we had today.
But wait, but doesn't our show only just like shit on things? We don't have any intelligent discussion, and we just like to troll the game because we're assholes.
Oh yeah,
and we give people AIDS.
Yeah, people that call in
right.
or wish AIDS.
People that call in, we just yell and shout over them and do bad things to them.
I know. I feel bad. We didn't even get a chance to like really address Reddit.
Fuck them.
Fuck
Fuck
Reddit.
'em.
I mean, like seriously,
We love you, Reddit. You love us.
I mean, we can address
us.
like
That's why you keep talking about us.
like the original poster, but like there's no point in reading the comments because it's the same old derivative shit. It's like it's like fucking 24-man raid all over again. It's the same shit.
Yeah,
because
kinda.
the original poster wasn't even shitting on us.
It's funny to laugh at the way that they try to.
More for the road.
Oh yeah, give me
the FF14 podcast has more in common with Square Enix than they'll ever know.
I'm just
14 podcast.
I'm just saying that, like, you know, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm tired.
It's really hot.
I've kind of run out of steam.
Yep.
It was an interesting conversation, though. It's always really interesting to hear from our audience and to hear your opinions and to know that we're not alone. Like, you know, again, we get dumped on all the time for this shit, and I'm not complaining about it. I'm not trying to, you know, make myself a victim here or anything. But we get dumped on a lot for it, and again, as people have pointed out again and again, that you know what, like. We've been right. Like, we've been right more than we've been wrong.
Yep. My favorite call today, besides Leroy's, because he was amazing, was Vivian, who's like, you know, I thought you guys were wrong, but no, you were right.
And yeah,
and I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you don't ever need to apologize. Yeah, that's the thing, is that any of the meanness, any of the passion, any of the yelling,
we still love you.
It's I mean, it's all part of the fun, right? Like, if we were like, hey guys, let's have a really hey, let's light some candles before we start the show. Like, no one who wants to listen to that shit.
Can we have a show like that?
No.
There's like actually a lot of people that want that stupid show.
Well,
but you know what? They won't listen to that.
The bad feedback we get from it. I would be very interested in doing that as a social experiment.
I guarantee you, no one would like it. Even
I know, but Reddit seems to think that it would be the perfect podcast. So
I know. I am well aware of that, but you know what? We've already lost those people. We're not going to gain them back by going, "Hey, look at this dumb shit."
Plus,
I know.
Plus, there's no good wiki to read off of.
Yeah, that too.
Is lighting candles not a euphemism for marijuana?
No.
Oh. Well, shit, I'm totally out then.
What, you just wanted to smoke weed the whole show?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. That's pretty much refresh.
I mean, it'd get really hot in here, wouldn't it?
No, it would just smell really bad.
It doesn't already?
Yeah, it does. Well, I mean, I don't think it would smell bad, but, I don't know, Kala might.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, I know.
I don't mind the smell, but the smoke messes with my allergies.
Oh, my allergies.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Spartacus. I can't drink anymore.
Don't blow pot smoke on me or my eyes will bleed.
I cry because smoke is bad. It's the devil's plant. I almost said the devil's weed, and that's like, that's...
That's a little redundant.
Redundancy.
You know, we're 15 minutes over time. We should probably wrap it up.
Hello, did you enjoy watching me pee?
Fucking dumbass.
All right, that's going to be do it. That's going to
That's gonna be do it.
You know what? That's going to be do it.
Hello, I've lost my pigeons.
You know what? Check a look, because Checkpoint Radio is coming up next.
Check a look.
Check a look.
Check a look. Read a book.
Oh God, guys, we're done. I think this is the epitome of our podcasting days.
Checkpoint Radio is ahead next for everyone that's tuned in right now. All 152 of you. I'd like for all 152 of you to stick around. Checkpoint Radio is a talk show that we do about esports and video games. So we'd like to invite you to stick around and hear the full episode from this week. We broadcast it live here at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. All right, again, I want to thank all of our callers today. We had some really fantastic callers. It was great hearing from you and hearing your opinions, even if you didn't necessarily agree with us in the chat room. That's fine. We're here to talk about it. We're here to talk about all of those things. So thanks again, guys. LimitBreakRadio.com if you want to check out anything on the podcast. And, of course, all 130 episodes that you can check out of an archive over there. Again, LimitBreakRadio.com. I want to thank my crew, Kooky Persona, who's been taking all of those phone calls and sending them up to us, as well as Scala, even though he had to take off. Nika, Juxtaposition, and Kahlo. I'm an hero. Keep listening. Limit Break Radio is a production of LimitBreakRadio.com and Bender Media Productions. This episode was produced by Kahlo Landis, Juxtaposition, and Kooky Persona. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. Funding for Limit Break Radio is provided by Miri Kennett, Satori Komeji, Darkflux, Null Peckett, Shara Heartslot, Nexian Theta, Brian Alexander, Tommy Carlson, Hirsch Fersch, and fellow Limit Break Radio listeners. To support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. Opening music in this episode from Daniel Lambie. Listen to Man with the Machine Gun and other great tracks at Facebook.com/Daniel Lambie Metal Gamer. Closing music in this episode provided by Husky by the Geek. Listen to this and other great Final Fantasy XIV and video game rock covers and original music at Facebook.com/Husky by the Geek. In-game graphics for Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream are provided by Diamond Multimedia. Check out their line of AMD graphics cards and other hardware at DiamondMM.com. Limit Break Radio and its hosts are solely responsible for its content.